All right, here we are, podcast for we.
What's up?
I'm doing the sign for kill a lot of people. No, I'm joking.
There's a lot of people dying right now.
Oh shit! Isn't that the truth? We're recording a podcast or a vodcast, and it is what is the date here?
Is vodcast a thing, or do you just
20.
invent that right now?
I don't know. It has to be. I'm not the one who invents these fucking things.
Vodcast.
Vodcast, yeah. Well, there's podcasts. It goes on the podcast. It takes a while. So this is 28th of May, and here we are talking about the most important things in life: love, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Just for all that good stuff.
Today, I thought I would talk about a less controversial topic, like riots.
I was waiting for it. I was like, what what's the punchline here?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So
Yeah, I know. People are writing. They moved back Comic-Con, to next year. That caused riots.
Seriously? I thought they were talking about the guy who got shot. Or not shot. I'm so used to the police shootings. I'm not used to people stepping on each other's necks,
Don't exaggerate. He did not step on his neck.
My bad. Need.
he Colin Kaepernick on that dude's neck.
Yeah.
To death.
Let's get the names down. So George Floyd, that's who it was. So what we're going to talk about here today is this cop, right? I guess, okay, so let's take it back. This guy cashes a bad check. Like, who hasn't done that? And, well, I'm not a check.
It doesn't matter what the guy did.
I know, right? Is that a killable offense?
This guy slaughtered puppies in front of the store.
Wow.
You're right. This isn't Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
You know? This isn't like, I am the law. And you fucking give the decision right there on the street.
Yeah. And that's
what the guy did.
Well, not just that. Like my wife, she put it down like this, like she was talking to her Republican friends and she said, all right, would you, if a guy was stealing something, is that a death penalty? If the guy was bouncing a check, is that a death penalty? Anything like that, is that a death penalty? No. And so he skipped the whole court process, went to death. And nothing worth like dying, as in, he wrote a bad check. That's what he did. He writes a bad check. This is weird. So he writes a bad check and they call the cops on him. Like, that's if my card bounced. Like if I used my card and it bounced.
You also got that lady that called the cops on the dude and she's dragging her dog around.
Next.
While she's feigning fear and all that shit,
like a depiction of what a person would do before those incidents. You know what I mean? Like, as in, say that would have played out right and he didn't record and the police did come, we might have another neck kneeling there, so I mean, like, so okay, so he bounces the check, they flip. Like, what makes them want to call the cops on a guy bouncing a check?
I honestly, I don't know. I mean, I figure anybody probably would have got the cops called on them. I haven't seen really any descriptions about what happened before the video, and
no,
I haven't seen anything before the video. And according to the Floyd family attorney, there's more video.
So, well, I heard there was like 15 minutes of it.
Right.
But like 15 minutes of them putting their knee on his neck. That's what I heard.
Yeah, because the video, I think the video that the guy put in, the video that everybody's seen is like 7 minutes, right?
Well, there's clips. It's kind of hard to. It's a hard video to
watch through it, dude. I think I'm watching this die. The first time I'm seeing it, I was just like, I'm serious. I think I'm watching somebody die on camera. Am I glitching?
Yeah, you were, but now you're back to normal. You were doing this thing while I was doing this on my screen.
No, I'm turning off the Wi-Fi on my phone. Oh, yeah, you know what? I don't think there's too much controversy over, whether or not the cops should be prosecuted, and whether or not all that should be going down. Um, you're right. I think the real controversy are the riots that are happening, in Minneapolis, and pictures of people stealing stuff and ripping off businesses and causing damage and stuff. That none of that is productive.
Well, okay. We'll totally get to the riots in just a second. I want to take it back to
Okay?
why. So he cashes a bad check, and the cops come. At that point, I theorize he did the classic, kind of not resist arrest, but they're coming at him pretty aggressive, and then he gets to a point where he's like, "Fuck you guys,"
Yeah,
I would believe that's probably what it is.
probably did. Yeah.
Well, I'm not just a whoa. I'm not
No,
just
no, no. Yeah, I know where you're coming from.
I'm playing it out. So
Yeah.
they fucking take him down. He probably fucking struggles. And what there must be what was it that got them in their head to put him on his stomach and put their knee onto the back of his, that's like a blood choke, they're
Yeah.
and
That
then
was the first thing I thought. The way he had his knee on his neck, I'm like, he's closing this area up right here.
yeah. Like what were they thinking? And then like they weren't thinking. That's the answer. And then like it had to have been a thing in which they do this a lot, right? I mean, you don't just get to, you know what I mean? Like that's not something I would have came up with. I don't. I
He's
mean, like,
probably already done it before.
yeah. Like I mean, worst case scenario for me, I would have shot the guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying I would have.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You
Right?
feel threatened, you shoot, whatever. But
That's just me being dumb, because I'm not a cop, and I think anyone else would have done they're not supposed to, but if they got, but he took it to I'm fucking gonna give it to you hard, and I'm putting you down, and then everyone else is just cool with it because it lasts a long time. It's not like he was being choked and then he was out because that can't happen. But they choked him for a while, and
yeah,
then he was begging for his life, and then he was like begging for his mom, and
wait,
and they were just
he was
letting it,
freaking faint. Yeah,
yeah, and they were just letting it happen, and that means to me that this must happen a lot. They're used to people begging for their life, and they're like, fuck this guy, whatever. So what do they do? They fire him. That fucking guy killed the dude, and this is why the church gets like the shit that it does. It doesn't prosecute its own, it doesn't take it to the next level. Like, not only we're gonna fucking kill you or not get you out, we're the police are coming too, like the police should have fucking fucked those dudes up, and then more law, and then there's still hell to go to when you die.
the you're seeing again, kind of what is it, the thin blue line or the blue wall or whatever they call it.
Yeah, like a
When they take care of their own. You saw it with the Mod Arbery case. Where those dudes were just out on the street because the dad was a former police officer or deputy, wherever the hell he
hmm,
was. But he had ties to law enforcement, and basically, I'm pretty sure they were just trying to wait out the clock. They were just like, okay, let's put this on hold, and hopefully everybody will forget. And then that fucking video comes out. It's like, oh shit, now we got to act. You
yeah.
know. Another thing that pisses me off, where they're insulting our intelligence, is like, oh well, we're already investigating anyways. Nah, bullshit. Nothing happened until that video came out.
It's true.
And here, I don't think anything would have happened without that video coming out either. This guy already had like a dozen complaints against him already. Now, yeah, there's some cops out there that are saying, oh, yeah, we get complaints against us all the time. But some of these complaints, it's like now you got to go back and take another look at them.
Yeah.
Were there legit complaints? Because now you have hard evidence of this guy kind of acting in a way that a lot of these other complaints suggest. And it's not good, man. And I know not all police officers are like that. Not even the majority. I mean, I wouldn't spitball a number, but they're not all like that, and we shouldn't judge all of them based on this. However, there's like 4 or 5 police officers on the scene in that video, and most of them kind of just let it happen. They're
Yeah.
complicit.
That's like a window into what's going on. And then like you that's where you draw your statistics from, really. I mean, like a lot of people, they see the statistics. It's not that much. There's not that many police altercations. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it does happen nonetheless. But when you see this in particular, you can see that nothing, like, this shit's just another day, because not one was like, hey, and even if, say, Asian guy, there was an Asian guy there just letting this shit happen, represent Asian.
He's even stepping in between the camera and the scene, to block what's happening, because I think he kind of knows too. This ain't good.
Yeah, that's as best he can. And like, I think there is some kind of a, now this is theorizing. I bet money this is one of those, you can't rat me out, that kind of bullshit, and try to cover your own. And you got that going on. He probably knew it was wrong. That's even worse, when you know it's wrong. But I could see the end of the goal here. If he did step in, or if he did step in, chances are the entirety of his group would have been like, "Fuck you, man! You should have told on us." And there might be ways.
Well, and there's another problem. I mean, let's say he did step in and
Yeah,
Floyd survives, you know, that I mean the fact that he died actually kind of proves a point that there's excessive use of force happening, right? He would have saved his life, but then I mean, unfortunately the hammer probably would have fallen on that officer that stopped the other one.
probably wouldn't have got promoted.
Or he would have got let go. Administrative leave or something like that, some kind of a negative mark on
Some
his
kind of a bullshit story.
yeah, something would have happened, but that obviously would have been a better outcome than what we got here.
Yeah, and then
But the fact of the matter is, I mean, that probably would have happened that way. It wouldn't have been fair, Oh, and let's say a citizen steps in,
oh, that guy's going down.
he's getting blown away.
Oh yeah, you're not. You can't. I remember the story you told me when you got the you were at your house, and then the cops came up on you about your car, and then your mom came up, and
That's right.
cops like, what the fuck? By the way, she's Hispanic, just saying. you know so, like, there's not, there's not that, let's blow away Hispanics, which isn't a thing. It does happen, though. I had to look up the statistics. This is a hard thing to find, statistics on this shit. I looked everywhere. And so, yes, this does happen a lot. Not a lot. Okay. Let me rephrase
Well,
that.
two of the complaints against this guy were masked. Somehow they get put like in a
Well,
digital vault, and they're
there's
not available to the public.
I'm talking about the statistics of death, like
Oh,
people dying from officers, and it's more white people than black people. This is what the Republicans will say. More white people get killed, but
they keep
how
ratios.
the ratio, well, of course, because you're a math whiz, the ratios, you're right, there's more white by a lot too. It goes white, Hispanic, then black, then a little bit of Asian, just a little, but it's white, and then a lot of Hispanic, but not that much, though, mostly white. So in percentage wise, it's not really that much white people do get dusted off,
Yeah.
per capita. But ratio wise, there's not that many black people in comparison to white people. It should be more Hispanic. Even the Hispanic ratio, when you look at it, they're getting dusted off more, but there's more of them, than there is black. And black is almost right up on Hispanic. And the difference between Hispanic and black is like a lot. I had to go through a lot to find the fucking statistic of that. And even then, I'm kind of like, I don't know. It's something called statica.com or some shit like that. I went to the FBI site. I went to the fucking, what is it? The Bureau of like something or other
But
statistics.
you're gonna find the same. You're gonna find that same type of ratio, relationship in socioeconomic status. How many people are dying from COVID?
Yeah.
You're gonna find very similar numbers and ratios. Again, mostly Caucasians dying, but when you look at per capita ratio, it's the
I'm,
Hispanics and
I'm,
African Americans are getting the brunt of it.
I'm not that guy who's like, with the black guy who was arrest. I'm pro cop, but there is a problem here. And like, just like when Colin Kaepernick, although he was a shitty quarterback or whatever, he was kneeling to fight this. Now, although he could have been doing this for his own publicity, the message is still there.
Yeah.
And what happened, even if it's one person dying, let's just say one person, he's trying to say one person. So when you do the counter to this and make fun of him, you're literally making fun of what he's trying to do, even though even if he's like for publicity, doing it like for an unsavory thing, there's
Right.
still the message, and when you step on that, you're stepping on that person too. And what happens now is that with the rise of the left, you have the rise of the right. And it kind of sucks because on their end, they don't even see it. They only see the numbers that support their argument in the sense of more white people are getting killed. In fact, Carl Tuckerson, what is that guy on Fox? Carl Tucker. Yeah, that guy. Okay. All right. Let's move past this. Now we're talking about riots. So he's like, these riots represent tyranny. And I was like, whoa, tyranny? Like, how is that's the reverse? Usually when you're rioting, you're kind of trying to fight the oppressors, right? And he turned it around into, and I've heard him talk. He's not dumb, but the way he said it was so warped. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if he's doing that for the audience, which I mean, yes, uh, it's easy to say that it's for the audience, but I maybe that's a twisted way of seeing things.
His arguments usually take a long walk, to get to them, and there's a lot of assumptions that need to be made in his arguments for
Just
them
with the
to
white people getting
hold
killed more.
water. Yeah, I think he's full of shit, dude. Most of the time. Um,
No, he's had some good ones though. Like I agreed with them on some points. I was like, yeah, that's legit. And then
there's always some truth in there. There is a point of view. Here's the thing: even if Tucker Carlson, is doing it for the cameras and for entertainment value, that's kind of what Fox is founded on. Really, news as entertainment, not comedy, but just sensationalism and all that, sex and violence and all that shit. Um, there's people that are agreeing with him. And so, just like you said about Colin Kaepernick, even if Tucker Carlson is really just doing it for job security and to keep himself on the air and to keep his ratings up, the message is still there. And there's still a large number of people that are willing to go ahead and absorb that and say that, yeah, this is the way it is. And there's always some legitimate point of views in there and some values that are reflected in there. But for the most part, it's American values getting warped to fit a narrative that doesn't consider the whole country or even the majority of the country. It really considers a small slice of it that gets amplified. At
that's
Trump
not a
rallies.
slice. It's like half the country.
It's less than half, dude. You want to go statistic less than half. You want to go off the presidential election, it's less than half.
Oh, you think you're talking popular vote?
Yeah,
If you want to go that direction, yeah, you're right.
I still believe in the electoral college. I wouldn't push that away. You still get divisions of states. You look at the electoral college map. There's still regions, but damn, if it was just straight up, popular vote, I think California and the Eastern Seaboard would be deciding everything for everybody all the time.
Okay, we're gonna come back to that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. But again, like these riots, I don't agree with them. I know that I'm down with the protests. I'm down with people organizing, getting their voice out. Maybe getting rowdy, but not where you're destroying things.
Okay, well, okay. So like what he did, it's weird. Okay, so I another comparison on the left that I've seen, which is dumb, which is really dumb, is when they do the thing where, which I think is stupid as well, is when they compare. Why is it when Whitmore, okay, so the governor of Michigan with the people with the guns screaming in their face, how come those fuckers aren't getting killed or whatever the fuck? Because people died in these riots by cops, right? And well, I think there's one person.
Yeah,
And
he went to like a police compound where they were storing their equipment or some shit.
oh, yeah.
He's
And
that for it at that point.
yeah. So they were like, why is it that the white people could get away? It was a meme. It was like white people get away with this shit, but black people can't get away with because they die, in the riots or they get fucking tear gas, whatever. Not that that was a stupid comparison because, I mean, in one instance they got guns, like, yeah, they're fronting. They didn't do shit. These fuckers in the riots, they're breaking into the target. They set AutoZone on fire. which has nothing to do with cops.
The people that went into the state capitol up there in the Lake States, they they're not dumb, and they know how to read the letter of the law and
Uh,
follow everything exactly, right? You know
fuck,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
They looked at it and they said, "Well, I mean, according to the law, I can walk into the Capitol with the weapon, you
Yeah,
know."
yeah,
And
they're dumb.
they they feign ignorance, not feign ignorance. They're they're willfully ignorant when it comes to certain points, but when it comes to something again that fits their narrative, they'll take out everything and then make sure that they review the law and are able to cite precedents and this and that blah 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 to do what they want to do.
So you're saying
There's
those people there, the white people, they're not dumb, but the black people who rioted, they're dumb.
they're dumb for going ahead and willfully breaking laws to try and make a point that's beyond stupid, because you end up countering your own point and drawing attention away from it, just like that stupid comedian redhead does every time she threatens Trump. You
With the
know, it,
Gifford.
yeah, pumping him with a syringe full of it was a joke, but she's not funny.
Yeah.
You know, and here I think it is stupid to go ahead and do things that don't give you that popular image that you're going for, that sympathetic image. You're not playing things by the rules. There's nothing in the rule book that says, hey, you guys can go ahead and protest or voice your opinion, and while you're at it, go out and get an HD TV from the local fucking Target or something. You know what I'm saying?
Reel this back in. Now you're not saying dumb per se. I mean, like, okay, one could see that and say that the white people are smart and the black people are dumb in respect of what you just said.
No, it's a stupid decision.
I hear you. I think it's dumb to go to the one.
Oh, I think it's dumb to go to the Capitol armed too. Just because you have the right to doesn't mean
Yeah,
you do it.
but that is the comparison to the left. They're saying why, and but like I disagree with that comparison because
Yeah, I would disagree too. I mean, again, the letter of the law in one, uh, destruction of property and of people's property that had nothing to do with what happened. You know,
yeah. Well, okay, I'm gonna throw this out. So it's weird because I disagree with you in a way. I wanted to talk about this. I don't disagree. I don't know. You remember when we were talking about COVID-19 and we're like, just let this shit happen? Now, they've killed these black people. It's not that many, but they do kill them, right? And there's this like, you could see that there's this thing that's happening where it's like they do it so much that maybe they don't get caught or something like that. Where, because okay, they put their knee on this dude's fucking neck, and didn't even occur to them like, hey, maybe this guy might die. It was just second nature. So to me, that seems that this happens a lot more than we're being told, and
it's
more.
endemic. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a thing, right? That's a symptom, and this is not the first time. You have Eric Garner, they fucking choke him for fucking cigarettes. I mean, so this shit's happening, right? And what's getting solved? Nothing. You got Colin Kaepernick putting his knee down, people protesting. Now you got these fucking riots. Now I have to say, you see where I'm going here with the COVID-19. I mean, like, I at first was like you. I was like, hey man, this is not the way to go about it. I know, stealing the HD TV. What the fuck does that have to do with it? But I mean, yeah, maybe if they just, people rioted more, maybe some shit will get solved.
it
Let's,
didn't happen. It didn't happen in Los Angeles in '92.
did it? It
Um,
didn't?
no, it didn't happen. I think it was also Minneapolis again,
No,
maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Rodney King got money. He didn't get money, then he got money.
No,
They,
the civil suit came after that. It was going to happen anyways.
well, no, they said not guilty, and then he gets money.
Right. But again,
They said not guilty.
right, not guilt. It's always two court cases. Just same thing with O.J. Simpson. He was not guilty of killing them, but then he was found liable in the civil suit and had to pay money. It's always two proceedings. It's one and then the other. So yeah, the cops got off the hook, but Rodney King still got to go to civil court, which came after the riots, and was able to get money. Again, two different cases, and also the what is it? The burden of proof I think is easier in a civil suit than it is in a criminal suit.
I agree. Okay. Okay.
So
I,
so
I agree.
that's the difference there. But it's something that I think we talked about last time, and it's something that I go back to sometimes. Real change is not going to happen unless it affects people with money. And unfortunately, lower socioeconomic status, and just for everybody out there, I mean, I work in local socioeconomic area. I think it's incredibly unfair. There's disparities. There's a widening middle class and all that stuff. And but what we see is, and I think I used this example last time. And think of the Bill Burr special, when he made the joke about flying, right? Low income people don't fly, high income people do, right? 9/11 happens, all these changes are put in place, and they're still in place 19 years later to protect the people with money that are flying, to make them feel safer. What happened? People wanted to carry their Germex on the planes. Now we can go to 10 ounces on the planes. You know, they started making exceptions for who?
The rich, of course, I get it.
People that got money. So unless it affects people that have money, until you have a senator with the knee on his neck or something like that,
D-
or some big donor or whatever, that it ain't gonna change a damn thing.
Let's play this out. Let's play this out. So let's see, Amazon. All right, so people start rioting, right? And they start attacking Amazon buildings, right? Massive loss in profit. You're talking about a trillionaire right there. They keep attacking these damn buildings, until they get, whatever they want. It's almost like terrorism in a way, if you think about it. But if they did do that, it would put pressure because he's
You
rich.
might, yeah, you might see stronger laws against rioting and and what is it, looting?
That's
That's probably gonna be the only thing you're gonna
wrong.
see.
Yeah, you defeated my point. See, I guess like until they put a knee, they would have to get a senator who's black and put their knee on it because that happens. That happens where the police are like, I've seen videos where they get the lawyer, right? And they start telling them shit like, you can't record. And the lawyer's like, I'm a lawyer. I know you can record. And then they're like, oh, shit, like they find out that the guy is a lawyer and they're like, fuck, we fucked up now, So it would have to be then they'd have to get it like a senator and then just accidentally just like fuck like say the senator was like hanging out with one of his old school homies and shit and then fucking gets caught up in some shit.
It's
That's the only way, right?
I I'm since fourth grade, dude. Studying Martin Luther King, the nonviolent movement. Um, I've always been big on that, and so I've never really been big on looting and all that. But here's the value of these kinds of events. There is a value to it. Um, it is an expression of frustration. You know, 92 riots were as well. Do I think it's a smart thing to do? I don't. Okay, because again, it's breaking laws and it's affecting people that had nothing to do with it in the first place. But it is symptomatic, of the greater disparities that are going on, and it's just people that don't know how to cope with it. There's people that do irrational things, depending on what they're going through and what kinds of needs aren't being met. Trump being elected, and doing all these crazy things. Again, he's not the reason for all of these things happening. He is a symptom, you know. He's kind of like a sign that a lot of people were frustrated with, what happened with the previous 8 years. I don't really understand why, but they were, um, whose needs weren't met, and it really should kind of ring a bell. Like why do these people feel this way? Um, a lot of it could be racism and sexism too, and it's hard to please those people because what do? You kick out all minorities and put all women back in the kitchen, or what? I mean, is that
Well,
what?
you're expanding what we're talking about to a greater scope. Let's just keep it to eh, put knees on necks. I mean, you're right. I mean, there is nothing that can be done. I don't know about like because it's only the media that really blows this out of proportion, but like we are getting an eye in the window of what is kind of going on without us knowing. Because you may only get the Eric Gardner, you only get this I forgot his name already, Floyd, it's Gregory Floyd,
What?
and you got that, and there's like some years in between. but it's the not the guy with the knee on there. It's the fact that the other cops were just like letting it happen. That's the only thing that I could see. That, and then the other one, it was only one guy choking the guy, and then the other guy was helping. So I mean, like, it's a thing in which this is a thing because no one's really stepping up to stop these people, you know. So
They they need to be trained.
there ain't no training for
That
this.
they need to be trained. Well, because if they get, I'm sorry, they need to be trained to override each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They need to understand that if you don't, you're going to get charged at the same level as that guy, because people are not going to challenge you physically because you have a gun. No one's going to jump on you and pull you off somebody that you're about to kill because you can kill them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's an automatic, like shutdown. All these people know what's happening. The guy holding the camera knows what's happening. He's like, hey man, you're killing him. You
Yeah.
know, if they had gone and tackled that police officer, they probably wouldn't be alive.
But those are people. Let's just
Right. So the police officers have the responsibility, because the people are not going to be able to respond.
I
They have to have the responsibility to override what somebody else is doing, regardless of rank, or regardless of how long they've been in there, or what, regardless of personal relationships. That kind of shit might need to start ending too.
I
Fraternizing outside of work hours, because the problem is a lot of these guys, they hang out afterwards and they're doing this and that, and all of a sudden it makes it a lot more difficult to challenge them
you know
on the job.
I think this is an unavoidable thing in the sense that I mean, this probably happens less than it did before. So this is just remnants of the past. This probably happened a shit ton before the body cams. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I mean, I think the body cams is a step in the right direction, accountability and all that. But I think that we should step it up with having something like undercover cops, I guess, from other districts or some shit acting all fucked up and seeing what the cops follow protocol or
Like
not.
internal affairs, but
They don't do that though.
yeah, you're right. They've
They
been
should they should like a like say I'm selling pizza, then you have a manager who pretends to be a customer to see if I go through the process or some shit like that. Maybe have like a cop, undercover cop be like, oh fuck you guys, oh, and throw some shit. You know what? I wonder if that's a thing. Like, would he be reluctant to do that because he's like, fuck, I might get killed.
or like having police officers on like rotating schedules. The only problem with that is they don't get to know the neighborhoods that they're working, but that also might be a good thing too, because then they can start giving people the benefit of the doubt. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, they have a district. They have to work the areas that they have to work. You know what I mean? And you can move them around, but then they have this kind of a thing where, well, you're not getting enough crime, got to move you here,
right?
that, you're not getting enough. It's funny too, because they're like getting graded on their arrests and their tickets and shit. They say there's no quota, but that is kind of a quota, right? I mean, like,
Yeah, performance expectation standards, blah blah blah.
yeah.
It's quota.
But if they had in it, like the IA kind of pretend to be like, fuck you, cop, starting shit. I bet money though that guy who has to pretend that part would not want to do that because he will die. Like that's on the table.
Yeah, these damn cops, you might get shot in the back or something.
Yeah. So like, I mean, like there you have your checks and balances, man, because you don't want to shoot a cop. Like if you shoot a fucking cop, that, as a cop, you're going fucking down, so maybe like throw themselves in rotation like once a week, fucking test them out. I think that's the way to go about it, because as it stands right now, you have a gang in power, and that is the way it's going to be. There is
What
no fucking changing it. They're just gonna, what they're gonna do, they're gonna create more training and more training and more
what something that I think needs to happen too, more proactive mental health programs, because this shows something else too. They they're kind of dehumanizing the people that they work for, to get to the point where you can put your knee on somebody's neck and risk their lives. Because come on, police officers go through blood choke trainings and all that shit, right? I mean,
hopefully.
I, I, there's no fucking way that this shit ain't happening, right? Where they get blood choked so that they could feel what it is. And that shit can happen in like 30 seconds.
I bet
This people can stay there in like for like 7-8 minutes, right?
bet
So
money optional.
so these guys, yeah. So these guys obviously they're on the street, high stress. They're gonna say profiling ain't going on. It's going on, and it's gonna get to a point where all of a sudden they're not seeing the people that they're working with as people anymore. They have to dehumanize them to get to a point like this where they can do something like this and not even like look at each other, not even like not even walk by the other dude and be like, "Hey man, you might want to get off that dude's neck," nothing, you know.
Yeah.
So the only reason anything happened here is because somebody was recording it. They probably would have said, "Oh, the dude died in the fucking ambulance on the way
That's what they did say.
and that's a fucking lie, dude. That's got to be a fucking lie.
It is and it isn't, because you
And,
can't pronounce someone dead until you usually get the doctor to pronounce them dead. Or
yeah, yeah, yeah. The guy died on the floor right there.
no, I agree, but I think
The dude died on the floor.
they're not trying to fucking cover anything up at that respect. I think that's more of a protocol thing. They're like,
Yeah,
well,
but the cops know that that's a protocol too. They know, well, they didn't make the announcement of death until he's in the car anyway, so we could just say that it happened then. He
no,
was alive when we got him off the floor.
I can guarantee they didn't mean to kill this fucking guy. That was not the what they wanted to do. They fucked up through being, you're right, you hit it on the nail, dehumanizing. They fucking thought I versus them. And that's what it was. It just so happens he was black, but I have a theory though that this could have happened with a white guy. And he put his knee on the fucking dude. He was in high stress. Depending on what occurred between them, chances are he resisted arrest, whatever, because he got amped up. He puts his knee on the fucker, and then he's just like, you know what? Like, I think he just, he's letting the time, because that's the thing about cops. It's all about time, get more cops, get more, and then and stop the
To
stop.
handle him or whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
It
So
could
he
be.
probably has his knee on him, and he's like listening to him, but he's really just trying to get people back. He's trying to do what he's trying to do, and he inadvertently kills the guy. And I'm pretty confident that's what it was, but it doesn't matter. Like if I accidentally run over a baby, I'm on the hook.
Here's the problem with that. So you have manslaughter for people that do stupid things and put people's lives at risk, right?
Mm-hmm. That's manslaughter. Yeah.
Cops are trained, you know.
They're
These,
supposed to, but you mean trained?
yeah, these cops are trained. They have protocols, and I think the chief of police already came out and said that the type of restraint he was applying is not part of our training. So by choosing something outside of the scope of their training, automatically you're doing something you are not supposed to be doing. Your training is to keep
Second
you
degree.
within. I'm sorry.
That's second degree murder then.
So I would go with a murder charge.
Not first.
I would go with a murder charge.
And second degree, he accidentally killed
Probably
him.
second degree. I think they said like aggravated murder, which I think would probably fit. Well, I think that would fit more what you're saying. He was obviously pissed about whatever happened before. You're like, I'm a fucking cop and you're a goddamn person, and I'm here and you're here and you need to be doing what I'm saying, and you didn't do what I'm saying. I'm gonna teach you a fucking lesson right now.
Yeah, it's, you know what though, and I know they work 4-10 shifts, 10-hour shifts, and they probably pick up extra.
I get it. I get it, and that's why I'm thinking, more proactive, preemptive mental health screenings. You
Like,
know,
yeah, like I think like jujitsu or some kind of a martial art, like they should be teaching that on the reg, but they won't. They just won't. They,
yeah.
I think it's the hours in the day, and I think that they're supposed to they have mandated training, and they just pick out what training they want.
And they're expensive anyways because they're already. I think every cop I've ever talked to always says that they're constantly working overtime.
Yeah, of
You
course, they're always, yeah.
which I think is stupid because they're getting paid like time and a half or double time when they get overtime pay. It's like, why not just increase the number of cops you have? But
I know, right?
cops don't want that because then they don't get the overtime pay. So
Maybe they should like turn the cops into a more security guard like manner. I mean, just have like 100 cops, pay them less. I mean, like if they're gonna fucking do this kind of level of work, like it's rough.
well, and it's not. Yeah, this level work. The more time, like you said, 410 shifts. The more time that they spend doing that work, it the more ingrained that dehumanization becomes, to where you can do something like this, to where you can look away as somebody else is doing something like this, you
Yeah.
know, and you never know who it's going to happen to. You never know what kind of background they have. Maybe they were military. Maybe they came back from Iraq and they got PTSD and they just haven't been screened for it yet.
Now, what sucks is like they just let that shit happen. Like the police commissioner should be like, and letting it happen shouldn't be a thing, but they burned the dude. They sacrificed him because there was no helping him to save the other guys.
Well, everybody got fired.
I
I
thought
think
it was just the one guy.
4 officers got fired.
Oh,
Um,
I don't know.
but I don't know about whether or not they're going to bring charges. Then again, this thing's been moving pretty fast, so maybe it happened today.
Oh shit! Fuck. Last thing I read was like the one guy got fired right off.
The 4 fired.
Wow, shit! Asian
So,
fired.
well, he should have been arrested.
Yeah. They all been arrested.
They all should have been arrested.
Yeah.
I think on the spot.
Yeah.
It's just, hey man, we weren't trying to do that. Bend his ass over the cop car and arrest him right there, because it's pretty. It was pretty obvious just from seeing the start of the video. I was just like, that's not right.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. It sucks, man. Being a cop sucks because like you go day in day out, finding trouble, and they ain't gonna be like, hey, yeah, totally handcuff me, and no,
Well,
everyone's resisting arrest,
and
period.
seeing terrible things, and then seeing terrible people get away with terrible things, just because of like the burden of proof and all that stuff, right? And so I'm sure I'm positive there's a frustration that sets in, and an anger, and so these guys need to get screened regularly. Again, it costs money, but you could find savings by hiring the right number of police that you need, so that you're not paying overtime all the time. The money that you end up saving, you end up putting that into mental health programs, and you screen these fucking cops.
That'll never happen.
It'll never happen.
But I think if IA wanted to fucking crack some cops, they should fucking pretend to be a fucking
The problem is it's going to happen after the fact, just like here.
No, can you? I'm telling you, man, that's ultimate checks and balances. If you go to kill a cop, that's bad shit. So I bounced a check, and then you fucking just act kind of a little rowdy. And then the cops fucking take him down. And you're like, fucking, you're trying to kill me. I'm IA. Or some shit like that. And they're like, fuck, fuck you. Or kneel more into him or some shit like that. Or her. Or whatever. Usually it's guys though. But I mean, like that's on the table. I mean, like if cops are doing that shit to their own, it would galvanize the IA to get more of these cops. And then and they would just attack each other as more than they are now. They're always trying to bust some drug deal or some shit like that between cops. But I'm telling you, if you get down to the street level and you just every once in a while let an IA guy die, because these fucks, wow, that might change some things. Like, hey man, the next time someone bounces their check, don't kill them. Or someone's selling a cigarette, don't fucking choke them to death, and if somebody's running away, with a TV, let's not shoot them, because would they die in court if they stole a TV? Not fucking really, I mean, just, little things like that. I think that would help out tremendously in the Black community. And people get fucking rowdy and racist without even knowing it. Even the people that are for this argument, like this one lady, she goes, this is Facebook. So they protested, they showed the riots, right? And then this fucking Republican says, Minneapolis has one of the biggest, this is riots, by the way. Minneapolis has one of the biggest populations of Somalians and people from Muslim countries. They don't give a shit about Black Lives Matter or anything political. They'll do this every time. So basically, she's saying that the people rioting are Muslims and Somalians, and so, which is kind of like maybe the same thing because Somalians are usually Muslim. But regardless, because some Black people could be Muslim. What the fuck? Anyways, okay, I digress. She's saying that it's the Muslims, basically. And they don't care about Black Lives Matter. So she sees riots, right? and someone says this is fucked up, they shouldn't be rioting. Her first thought is it's the Muslims, and then she says they don't care about Black Lives Matter. When the fuck, and like you know, I'm not gonna post what the fuck was going on, but never once was that a sentence in anyone's thing. She just came up with Black Lives. The fucking Republican came up with Black Lives Matter. I didn't see anyone saying Black Lives Matter when they were rioting. They were fucking taking TVs and shit. One lady had 2 shopping carts worth of stuff. You know, so I mean, like, I didn't see her fucking like Black Lives Matter. They were just fucking getting crazy, you know, and I don't know what the mindset is of a person who capitalizes on a riot and protest. I don't know. Sometimes things need to burn, you know. I, I don't know. I'm all about disaster and destruction, you know. So I don't know. I don't know. And I know it doesn't solve anything, but fuck, man, what are we gonna do?
But
Yeah.
you got stuff like, you know, Occupy Wall Street,
They didn't do shit, and they didn't have a clear message.
and you're gonna have the same effect here.
Well,
You
this
know,
is one individual, dude. This is not a see. The problem Occupy Wall Street is you grab somebody, anybody, and they'll protest up. They're protesting about something vague. Corporations, they need to go down. What, you mean talking about your iPhone? That shit's gonna go down? No, it's not. You know that this is one specific thing. They killed a black guy. I shouldn't have done that. I mean, that's pretty specific, and that's the difference between those two protests. So I mean, one's rioting. I don't know, man.
no, but what I'm saying is, you know, yeah, okay. I mean, Occupy Wall Street, more vague, but again, you got the attention, you know, and you got people to look, and you got people to talk about it without having to break and smash windows and steal stuff.
They didn't do anything.
None of the riots have done anything.
Yeah, they did. They got us talking about it.
Occupy Wall Street got us talking about it.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. Let's be real.
And this only gets
Occupy Wall
this
10 years from
this
now, or we
but,
talking about this?
but this doesn't this type of action doesn't influence people. You think somebody on the far right's going to go, oh, they're stealing stuff, you know what, I should really rethink this whole, you know, equality thing, and you know,
That argument, right? Far right, the very far right. It doesn't matter if God comes down from the heavens and says, "Look, bro, what that dude did was wrong." Far right is far right for a reason, and far left is far left for a reason. We can't
right?
do those two.
Well, all it's going to do is build up the extremes.
You're right.
That's all it does. It builds up the extremes, and it doesn't the people in the middle are like, what the fuck is going on here? This makes no sense.
Middle is like, this is fucked up, and they could sympathize for what this is. Far right saw that and then just lurched over to the riots. Even if the riots didn't exist, they would have lurched over to white people die more, or he resisted arrest, or he was checking out a construction site. You know, I mean, that's how they go. That's what they do. They just kind of skip the actual thing that happens and then go to whatever.
The whataboutism, you
Yeah.
know, shit
What
like that.
about fucking sandwiches in New Hampshire? You know, fucking Chewbacca.
The Chewbacca defense.
Yeah, I mean, like that's how the far fuck. The more I talk to you, the more I sound left, and I do not like that. Be like that, but I mean, like I have to call it how I sees it. You
Well,
know, I'm
it's part of the balance. I don't think you're too far to the left. You know, the far left also gets extreme here too. You know,
yeah
they're going to
trying
argue
to
that the riots have value to them. You know, and that they're a sign of our anger and stuff like that, and defend them. I'm not defending them, but I am saying that there is a value to what's happening here. All those people that stole stuff, they should be arrested.
yeah.
You know that.
And then another thing the far right said, and there's other Republicans on my little Facebook feed. They were like, they should be shot. That's why you should have guns so you could shoot them if they come to steal. And then that's where my wife came up with, well, I mean, like if they went to jail, you know, or if they got arrested, they wouldn't get shot, you know, for stealing. Stealing isn't a killable offense.
I don't know what the laws are about that. Like if you're a private business owner and you're in your business and someone's smashing the windows and stuff, do you have the right to use lethal force?
Let's think about that.
You know, if I go and stand in front of the window with a shotgun and somebody breaks it and they walk through and step up to me, can I unload on them? Because certain states have, castle laws and stuff like that. Is a business like a home,
Yeah.
you know? Because I'll be honest,
Say target.
if I had a business and I had a gun and I was sitting in there, I might be shooting people,
A liquor
you know,
store.
if they stepped in.
I get a liquor store because you don't know if you're going to get killed or not. You just don't know.
You
But
don't know, and that's your livelihood, man.
a target, though, I don't think there's an owner there to begin with. It's all managerized. I think they're free game. Walmart, Target, Best Buy.
Yeah, if I were a manager at Walmart and I knew the riots were happening, I'd tell them to get the hell out anyways, right? But
Hey, let's
it's
get the
just
fuck
that
out.
we're a big corporation, we got insurance, blah blah blah. But a little mom and pop shop, because I think in parts of like Koreatown and stuff in Los Angeles, the Koreans who had been in the military in South Korea and had immigrated, those dudes are ready to go. They were on top of their businesses with guns and shit, and everybody kind of knew stay away from that, you
Hmm.
know. And I mean, I really probably not be there, but again, I don't know. I mean, if I sunk everything that I had ever worked for in my life into an establishment and it was being put at risk by people that are doing something that has totally nothing to do with what happened out there, I didn't beat up Rodney Key. I didn't put my knee on that person's neck. Why should I have to lose everything that I've worked for my entire life, to make a point that really has nothing to do with this business?
That's true.
You can actually bring a trash can, throw some stuff in there, set it on fire, and bang it and yell, do all that shit, and pretty much get the same effect. Why take it out on me?
You know, I was for riots, but now I'm not. I think the same amount of people, if they all work together, like 1,000 scientists saying climate change is wrong, rather than, protest, maybe they should all get together in a community and come up with ways to.
It's not constructive because the people that agree with you, that there's a problem. The people that agree with you, the extremists will agree with you more. The moderates aren't going to agree with you at all,
No,
and
I'm
the extremes on
saying,
the other side,
I'm,
you're just reinforcing their ideas.
well, no, what I'm saying is like, forget the riots. How many people rioted? Let's just say 1,000 people. Easy number. Instead of 1,000 people rioting, why not they get together, form a group, come up with things to do, and enact change? Like, as in, let's come up with the leader. Boom, leader, boom. Because you kind of need a leader to focus.
Yeah.
And then focus and attack. Like, as in, well, not attack like physical, but like, let's get these cops gone. Let's form a union to do something to get rid of somebody. Something like that. I mean,
It's funny. It's funny because you're talking about a community organizer, and that's something that most of the people on the right make fun of.
yeah.
You know, when they talk about Obama, they're like, "Oh, the community organizer." It's like, yeah, somebody that can do exactly what you just said right now.
Well,
Get people together to design a solution in a constructive way.
yeah. See,
And
prob-
protesting and that stuff, and I even getting rowdy at a protest, I'm cool with that. So long as you're not destroying property and making people pay that have nothing to do with this. Don't be a detriment to your message.
I agree. Yeah.
Don't do that.
And I think the reason why people don't come up with that, with a community, a leader, and all that bullshit to move something, because they don't really know how. So they act in the best way they can. Steal.
And it's faster too. And again, that's
Well, it doesn't accomplish anything, like you said. I was thinking about that. I played it out with you earlier. I was like, "Hey, just keep riding. This is
it's
see
not
what."
going to do anything. All that's going to happen is people's insurance premiums are going to go up. The area, insurance companies are going to be like, oh, you want to set up a business where? Oh shit, no, that's okay. if you want a business there, you're gonna have to pay more. Oh fuck, now you're making it more expensive to do business in your part of town.
I wonder what would happen if you just kept rioting. Like, I mean, does that does that enact change though? I mean, like, say your government was
Oh,
all.
because here's what was powerful about the civil rights movement. It was seeing people actually carrying out their constitutional rights but getting beaten and harassed for it,
Hmm.
and that's a more powerful image. Practicing your constitutional right, to voice your opinion, to occupy an area, to peacefully, was it to assemble, okay, the right to assemble, uh, and they were getting punished for it. That's a violation of their constitutional rights. That's that's an assault on Americana, on what we were founded on. That's a much stronger image, and it's much more effective at changing ideas than destroying shit.
Obviously, right? Because it did put pressure. And look at now, we can all drink from the same water fountain. Yeah, I don't have to
The
sit in.
problem is it took a long time. It did take a long time,
Yeah,
and you had to have the right people in charge, you know, um, to get that kind of movement going. Yeah, you had nonviolent
I
protests
the
already.
problem. I think the problem is though it's not we got focused on black people. What we should be focused on is we have an oppressive force. Not that it is, but it can be. It's called the police, and there's nothing in place to protect people's rights, not just black people. See, that's the thing. Once we polarize, and I fucking think this is some kind of a conspiracy if you think about it, because this is happening across the board. White, black, not more for black people, yeah,
Right, right, right.
but if we made this more of an issue for people and then we all organized, we would have a bigger voice than say just one small select group. And think about how select this is. It's you got I was reading like 14% of America is black or some shit like that. I can't remember the number, but that's not even the complete amount. It's like more than less than that.
Did I talk to you about when
Yes.
when they opened up the beaches,
Yeah.
and the police officer asked me and my girl to finish our burritos, and then and how courteous and how nice they were.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's in La Jolla,
I know. Yeah.
and the beaches right there are pretty secluded. They're pretty insulated from the people from like National City and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
I was there, but the police officer was very courteous, even though the ordinance was you got to keep walking. She let us finish our meal, and then asked us very politely, after you finish your meal, go ahead and just keep moving on, and then walked away, and told us to have a nice day. That shit would not have happened in National City. That shit would not have happened in Imperial Beach. That shit would not have happened with cops that are in there and just like, treating people like we're up here and you're down here. You better do what we say. Leave that burrito where it's at. I'm gonna finish it for you.
Okay.
And again, it's how they treat people with money versus how they treat people without money. If this part of town, which I'm pretty sure it is low socioeconomic, and they're used to kind of just trampling on people because they don't have the energy or the knowledge to fight for their own rights, they're gonna do it willy nilly. And then if they're working in the upper part of town, where there's more lawyers and doctors and shit, they're gonna be a little bit more careful because they don't know who they're talking to. They don't know if they're talking to a connected guy. They
Yeah.
don't know if they piss off this person, they're gonna get a call from the chief when they get back to the station saying, "Hey, who the fuck? That guy's my neighbor. Or that guy's my sister-in-law's uncle or some shit." You don't know what's gonna happen, but it's a lot easier to act like that when you're in a place where you don't look at people as people and you look at them as subhuman almost.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to what I said before. It's not going to happen unless it affects people with money. And
I
for
know.
the most part, the police working in places, like Beverly Hills and shit, they're going to be really cool. They're going to be really nice, and people working in lower income areas, they're not going to be like that.
No,
And part of it, I think, is a defense mechanism and a
I'll,
coping.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, rich people enact change, but hear me out here. If this was to expand to say the poor class instead of just like black people itself, just poor people, a lot more poor people than middle class. So that would put more pressure. So you have so many people that are like have money, so they got to be friends with some poor people, right? If everyone just kind of united under a banner, fuck these cops, that kind of bullshit, right? Get a clear message, and all work together, not just see, that's the thing. Once you just put it to black people, then it's about virtue signaling. I have a black friend, that kind of
Oh,
bullshit.
anyway, it's low income. It's low
it,
income.
if you
But
have,
I bet you break it down by income levels. I think it's probably the same across the board.
but it'd be enough people, it'd be more people than just black people. You know what I mean? Yes, there'd be more, the majority probably, but who cares? There'd be more people. If you get all the poor people to work against cops, in this way to enact change, have a clear message and a leader, I think you can get something done.
I
Because
don't think,
then
yeah,
put
I don't think they have to be against cops though. I think they just have to be against, these types of cops or letting it get to the point where cops become like this. I don't think there's very many cops. I'm sure there's some that want to have the chance to power trip and carry a gun,
yeah,
but I think most of them, go in.
have a power that shouldn't exist. Yes, they should
Shouldn't have
arrest,
to, but
but it's the fact that there's something there. So I mean, that's why you need a clear map. I'm not the one, you're not the one. We're not the ones that come up with this, but I really do think that if you moved it away from black people and into just poor people, or just people being oppressed, and try to just have a one clear message, not just cops. You're right, it's too vague. Or bad cops. That's of course bad cops, right? But a clear message. We want some power or something, where you can invoke, so that the cops can't put their knee on your throat. I don't know what that would be. I don't know how that would work, but maybe, I don't know, some kind of a insight other than IA, like a I don't know. But I think that the beginning of this would start with uniting as opposed to doing just Black Lives Matter, which I get. It means Black Lives Matter as well, but it's just easier to say. But I
right,
really
right.
do think that when they made it a race thing, that's when the message becomes who's woke, who's not. You know,
Yeah, it becomes polarizing, and
because
because
this is a real issue.
yeah, there's Caucasians being oppressed, and they're usually
Yeah,
the trailer types or
remove
whatever,
the
all those whatever stereotypes, but there's low socioeconomic.
yeah. Well, if you remove the power of them putting their knee on your throat, I mean, like, then you're good. I mean,
Well,
like
they don't have the power anyways, though.
that.
What made that guy think that he did?
Exactly. We got to come up with, first we have to figure out what the fuck happened here,
Right.
right? And then take that away.
We know what happened in those 10 minutes, but what happened before, leading up to making this guy think that it's okay to do
Yeah,
this to him?
yes, yes.
You know, I'm not talking about before the video. I'm talking about like
Yeah.
in guy's service.
Then four other dudes were just like, yeah, okay, this is okay.
What made them think it was okay to just stand by and let it happen?
Yeah, and then choking, and I could see the training. Training isn't going to work. That's not going to work. Because this is what's going to happen. They're going to train. Yeah, don't do this shit, and they'll be in their classes and like, oh, okay, totally not put their knee on there, but they're going to fucking do that, and then other people are going to back them up because that's just the way it's going to be.
I think body cams,
Body
you know,
count, right?
for that sense of imminent justice, that imminent justice is that feeling that as soon as you do something bad, you're gonna get punished for it.
Yeah,
And me, it was like growing up was like if I do anything bad, my mom's gonna like ninja jump out of the bushes and shit and whoop my ass.
yeah.
And that's just that's a Mexican thing, right?
I think the body cam's legit because I remember one guy tried to turn his body camera off and did some bad shit, and he's like, "Fuck, I didn't turn it off."
But
But like,
that
still,
that comes out in court too, though. It's like, why are you covering your body cam?
and that's
Why
another.
is your hand there?
The body cam should be immediately released, to the public because it's public. It should be public knowledge.
I think it
Way,
should fall under that. I think there's like a 24-hour rule or something like that about any kind of government recording needs to be available within a certain
yeah.
time.
I really do think maybe like an hour turnaround.
They could do it.
I mean, it's 2020.
They could do it, but oh,
I get real time recording. That'd be bad to know the locations of cops. That would be real bad. But maybe like an hour, maybe even 2 hours. Unlike that's a 2 hour turnaround. And then people like, not me and you, but there are people out there, 350 million people. Maybe say 1 million of that are fucking nerds who listen to police cameras or listen to CBs, right? There's probably 1 million people out there that would coast the fucking YouTube for this. So if you can, okay, so if you let
there's a small problem with that, and
no,
that's if let's say I get rolled up on by a cop, and somebody thought that I had done something. I hadn't. And so I'm on camera being arrested for doing something, and then before all the due process stuff happens, that video gets out, and all of a sudden back at my job, they're seeing that I'm getting arrested for this stuff or this and that, and opinions of me start to form. You know what I'm saying? And it becomes unfair. Now legally, I mean, if they fired me before whatever, maybe I have a lawsuit. But again, the in my personal life, in my private life, something like that could affect me, you know, where it shouldn't have. So that I think we'd have to look at that a little bit more closely. But I think in these kinds of cases where somebody gets killed, as soon as there's like a request or something like that, yeah, I think there should be kind of like a speed lane or a fast pass for
Yeah,
it.
there should be, right? Uh,
Um,
you know,
because
though, like it should be maybe
but here's the thing: is the body cam, yeah,
the person has the ability. Like
they're getting watched. They're getting watched.
I'm saying, okay, so same scenario. Say they have to release it within an hour, right?
Okay.
You have to say yes or no. Like that interaction between you two, every interact. So Bob talks to the cop, talks to Bob, and shit goes down, and it's up to fucking Bob to be like, I want to see that shit. Then he has to upload it an hour.
Yeah. What about Floyd? He was
Oh, Floyd,
dead. You
he's
know.
yeah, you're right. He is dead. Oh, then you would have to release it.
Yeah.
If the person dies, then release it within an hour. If you are alive, yes or no.
But
If,
what's the point of getting it out sooner rather than later? Because it will come out eventually. The
no,
body.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like you got YouTube, right? Like you know how you have CB radios, like people could just listen in something on the internet, like in real time, like shit's there, and anyone could have access to it. And it's you, the person, who has acts in the sense of yes, release the video. No, like as in you have to release the video because I said yes, and then they have to upload it. And then like say I say no, no, don't upload it. And then it comes, personal record.
Now, okay, so would this be for every recording that they do all the time?
No, just between interactions with people because it's your power, your personal power, only for you. Like me,
What, but what about if a cop runs a light or something like that, without hitting sirens or whatever, what about?
that's it. You know what
So who gets to choose is what I'm saying.
you do. So if I'm arresting you, I want everything up to that point. Let's say 10 minutes prior and then on. So I say, yeah, from the time you got because it's recording. So yeah, it's not
Like a
like
DVR.
yeah, it's not like magic. It's like for 1 hour, you're like, okay, he arrested me at 7 o'clock. I want it sent to the thing. We'll call it accountability tube, right? And you go
Right.
send it to the tube. All right, 7 o'clock. So it's 6:50, up to that point. Because it could have been like, we're gonna get this fucking guy because he's black, or we're gonna get this guy because he's Mexican. You got
Right.
that 10 minutes prior. So it's recording all the time. DVR. I mean, the shit exists. The technology exists. I mean, I could record 10 hours of video on my phone, and the fucking thing is this small. So you could do that and you could upload it to a cloud. So you're
Now, yep.
done. So, like, every single person that they arrest, they got the yes or nay. Now, like, legit, if the cop is not arresting people for an hour or 10 hours, yeah, that video shouldn't be uploaded regardless. He
Right.
could say the n-word to the nth degree. But if he arrests you, Eber, it's 6 o'clock, and you go, yes, you put your personal power, it's like 5:50 and on. From that interaction on, he has to upload it within an hour. And then get this, it exists. And
Right.
so anybody could log in and see it. Now that's the thing. You chose it. So it's you and him. Fuck him. He's a public servant. So it should already be okay. You said yes. Out of 350 million people, there's got to be at least 1,000 people out there always listening to CB, always checking this shit out. And they're fucking looking at this shit and they're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And if the fucking guy, and this would galvanize the people into not killing people because if they kill, it's automatic.
Well, some people, yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with the eminent justice thing. Some people need that, you
Mhm.
know. some people need that reminder that, oh shit, someone's watching what I'm doing. I better make sure I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is to prevent them even to have to consider, whether or not they're going to get seen doing it, but to remind them that they're people and they're working with people,
Yeah.
you know, and so again, that goes to mental health so that it doesn't get to this point, and it also helps to save the police officer.
I don't think
You
I
know?
think it's more implementable to, if that's even a word, to get technology out there.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
will overwrite people every time.
yeah.
You have body cameras now, and then less shit's happening. So I'm just saying, just added one more thing. Hey, fucking send that to the thing, and then now people are going to use the tech to fucking get these guys. And then like now, yes, you had your knee on that dude's neck, but now next time you're like, fuck, I am going to have to upload this shit an hour from now, so I better do things right.
Well, here's the other thing though. Would a body cam have saved Floyd? Because the officer knew he was being recorded. It was pretty obvious that there was a lot of people seeing what was happening.
But like I said, body cams for whatever reason get stored. The police look at it, they review it, and whatever the fuck happens,
Yeah,
happens.
but in this case, would it have made a difference?
The difference is when I'm saying it has to be uploaded, there is no review. There's no internal review. This shit is uploaded.
Yeah. Whatever. It's gonna get seen, right? Blah, 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 blah. It's gonna get seen. This officer knew he was being seen. He knew he was being recorded. Would
Yeah,
it have made a difference here if he'd
I,
had a body cam on?
that goes to my theory that he's been recorded before and he has gotten away with it.
Yeah.
So if
Right.
his recordings bloop, was up out there because you said do it, or some person got choked out, or somebody's, everyone's going to say, yeah,
He probably would have got fired ahead of time. He probably would have got fired way back in the day.
because people, it's out there, it's fucking out there. And then you could say, hey, look, lawyer, check this shit out. And then you could sue the guy or whatever the fuck. It would galvanize the police to actually fucking police their own, because they don't have a say, because they're public servants. That shit's out there on the ether now. And then, like you said, you came up with a problem, I solved it. You can say, no, don't put that shit up there. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to get fired for, sucking some transvestite's dick. Like, yeah. So, but, if the police starts putting his fucking knee on you, he's going to be like, this shit's going out no matter what. It could have been, he didn't, like, I'm telling you, he didn't want to kill this guy. He put his knee on this dude's neck and he thought, they're going to see it and I'm going to talk my way out of it. Now, if this shit went out on say fucking homeboy lived an hour from now, that wish I got uploaded, gone. Before, like a year ago, all the little shit that he did, fucking gone, dude, because it would have been out there and
I
somebody.
don't think. Yeah. I. Here's the problem. You might be right. He didn't mean to kill the guy, but he also didn't consider that his actions could kill the guy.
That too,
It was a level of carelessness.
but it got to that level though.
Yeah.
See, he knew what he was doing, he can get away with. But if he knew, no matter what, that shit would have been out in the YouTube, and his other buddies got fired for this shit, or accountability tube, or whatever you want to
He
call it.
wouldn't have done it. If he didn't know that he got fired for it, he wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, dude, no shit. I mean, like,
But that's a sad thing because
he would have fucking killed that guy if he could get away with it constantly.
right. It's not. It's not that. It's not like, oh, I might kill this guy. It's more like, fuck, I'm gonna get fired for this.
Yeah, the reason why he puts his knee on him and not shoot him just straight up, like, fuck you, is because he's getting recorded. He puts his knee on the guy because he's done it before and he's gotten away with it. Because that shit, whatever they're recording, goes into some kind of a thing and they review it, and then he could probably talk his way out. You put that shit on fucking TV, and even though, even if he thought he was in the right, public opinion would matter. And they was like, fuck, we don't know what to do, guy. I know what you're saying, but we have 13 body cams showing you, seeing what you're doing, because there was 4 guys or whatever the fuck. We have 4 body cams in different angles showing what you did. And then now there's the DA's on my ass, so I can't fucking protect you like I usually do.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this shit should be fast-tracked, and we should have the say. Done. Fucking fuck all of you. That's what we should do. Let's all unite. Poor people, let's go. Let's fucking go.
And it's not I don't think it's an anti-cop stance, but you know, it would have made it. I think it would have made it easier for the other cops to override him.
Yeah, because okay, check it out. Biden wouldn't be where he is if Twitter existed 20 years ago or 30 years ago. None of these fucking politicians would. Do you know why?
Huh.
Every fucking little thing that they did is quantified and then pushed out right away. So right now there's like a microcosm of things that are happening. Like, you know, when Joe Biden goes, you ain't black if you're not voting.
Oh
You
yeah, that's stupid
I mean,
ass.
that shit would like he probably could have said stupid shit back in the day that probably wasn't recorded or whatever the fuck,
Right, right.
right? But now when you say something wrong, you fart wrong, it's on there. That's the difference between the information age now and 20 years ago. Fuck it, 60 years ago. Now shit's this things just need to be more transparent. That's all.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Probably would have got this guy out sooner. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Mr. Floyd would probably still be alive. I think a lot of people would probably still be alive.
If the video is automatically out, and then
Yeah.
people would scrutinize it all the time as they do, and chances are a lot of good cops would get arrested. That probably not arrested but thrown out or some shit like that, but it would give them pause when they start and shit.
The thing is, I mean, you're given a trust. You know, you as a police officer can take away somebody's civil rights, you know, by detaining them. You have the right to defend yourself with lethal force, and you have special training, you know, to
Suppose,
make those decisions.
yeah.
So I think the, oh well, you know, they make a mistake and this and that, you don't get to, you know, not when you're given that much power. It's a Spider-Man rule.
You know, I
Great power, great responsibility.
hear you, but I
But
think
just
that
much, and guess what? You got to go.
no, but what I'm saying is the reason why he got to see he got to this level. This isn't day one. This isn't day
Right.
rookie. I'm telling you, if there was a system in place where there's multiple cameras on you and shit, and that shit's going to get uploaded no matter what, you would have pause. Just like now, there's self censorship. Some people who used to tweet hard shit, like saying F word, I'm not going to say it right here, just rhymes with maggot. You know, I mean, some people don't even say that shit anymore. Some people don't even say, they don't make fun of black people. They don't wear blackface as because Jimmy Fallon recently, he SNL skit of him wearing blackface. I don't know why Robert Downey Jr. gets a pass, but Jimmy Fallon wears the blackface and people come at him. They're like, hey, fuck it, this SNL, what the fuck? Why are you wearing blackface? This is like 10 years ago. And like, it's like, fuck, you know? So you're less inclined to do that. I mean, that shit's real and that shit is happening. People are self censoring. I have to tell you, if you do this with cops, they would do that too. They would self censor themselves. They'd be like, fuck, I'm not going to fucking get this guy like that because that might, they will see it.
Yeah, they. I mean,
And it goes both ways. Check it out. So we're just seeing more videos of cops getting taken down, you know, because they're not being more aggressive. Then now, because we see it now,
right.
we've had our 9/11. Be more aggressive, and vice versa. You guys are being too aggressive. We've had our 9/11. Be less aggressive. You know, so either way, it'd play either way. They're too aggressive. Like say they're not being aggressive enough. You know what I mean? They're getting attacked more. And you're seeing the statistics. Man, these fucking guys are getting fucking blasted all the time for not fucking being more aggressive. I mean,
What are the statistics of?
cops dying.
Well, and usually when they die, it's usually somebody shooting at them from a distance. You know,
No, they could get beaten to death. That happens. And knifed. That
what is that statistic? That's one I'd like to know. You know,
oh, it's up there. FBI has
the close ones.
for some reason the FBI keeps like fucking real good statistics on the death of cops,
Right.
but not the reverse. So I mean, if it's there, I mean, it's not easy with a Google search. You really gotta dig deep and fucking, I mean, type I don't know the right Egyptian cat with the fucking eye or some shit like that because it was hard. I fucking couldn't find anything, but I found a lot of statistics on cops dying. That shit's in your face.
Right.
And okay, whatever on that. If you're seeing it, there's a difference though. Here's the difference. You can have stats about black people dying and you can see them die. what's going to get attention? Them seeing it. So if cops are dying because of, not being, I'm not saying that this is a thing, but I'm saying
Yeah.
not being aggressive,
If that was to be the thing that happens because they're being too
people would
careful.
see it and they'd be okay with it. Just like COVID-19. If more people would die, more people would be, would be on point, on the same page. Just like 9/11. Bam, you hit those buildings.
Patriot Act.
Patriot Act.
They're willing to give up.
I'm telling you, you put this in place and let the chips fall where they may. People will get more arrested. People will get less arrested. Cops die less, die more. You'd see something. But at least there's transparency, and they have that power that they shouldn't have. So we should have that power to see at least what's going on, making sure you're doing right. And I think you should, you can hear me scratch my dog. Hey, he's on the podcast. No, what was I going to say? And I think that's a thing we should do. Now get the fuck away.
Yeah, man, it'd be good to see more body cams out there, but I would couple that with
employees. If you're fucking government, you should wear fucking body cam and shit when you decide to take away money for some kind of funding. Yeah. Oh, you're getting all jittery. Well, you're back.
All right.
You're good. Hey, what about Joe Biden saying, what do you think about that when he said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black?
Yeah, he it's dumb.
Now, do you think
I
flubbing his words, or do you think that was more of a, what the fuck he's talking about? I don't know. What do you think?
well, I mean, obviously, what he's trying to say is, that there's obvious, disparities here and inequalities that are being pushed by the far right, the way far right. And he's trying to get people to wake up to that, people that support Trump. And they're basically voting in their own interests. And that at this point, that's every race or background or gender across the board, that votes for Trump is basically voting against their own interests because his interest is only for himself. But in this case, I think he was trying successfully to try and wake up a block of voters, to vote for him. It was dumb. He shouldn't have. Yeah, that was not.
Yeah, like I've heard someone say that voting for him, it's not you're voting for him, you're voting for the policies he would enact, like the closer to what you want. You know what I mean? But like, would he? Like, you don't know because he's not really cognizant of what he's doing.
He's been in the game a long time. I think he knows how to maneuver around in like Congress and stuff like that. I think more now a vote for him is just a vote away from the craziness of Trump. I think we've been put really in a shitty situation where we have to choose between this psycho and somebody that is going to say stupid shit, but kind of has good intentions.
Well, how do you know he has good intentions? All you know is what he does. And all I see is a guy who does stupid shit and says stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like you see what he does, right? He says some fucking blatant shit and he does some things and then we just shit on him for it. But
do like dumb shit. It's not what did Trump do today? An executive order
to Twitter,
to basically weaken their defenses against lawsuits, right?
Yeah.
And that's an off the cuff knee-jerk reaction of his for getting hurt because they decided to fact check him. And it's like, how dare you fact check me?
Yeah.
And
from his perspective, it was like social media spreading fake news, which they kind of do. Not that they do.
It comes from him.
Hey, for instance, he'll say something like, let's help veterans or some shit like that. And then the news, social media will turn it into, how come he didn't do it sooner? How come he's helping them, but he's not helping these people? I mean, that's a reality.
Unfortunately, he's kind of dug himself into that spot for
He did.
He's at the point now where if he takes a step forward, why didn't he take a step backward? If he takes a step backward, why didn't he take a step forward? Because there's so many things he's done wrong that every time he tries to do something right, the obvious question is, why didn't you do this sooner? And I kind of feel like the media should start getting off of that because it is becoming background noise at this point.
Yeah.
Um, we should stop cheering for him to fail. I don't want him to fail. I really don't want him to fail. I want him to fail in his reelection bid, but I don't want him to fail in his job as president.
But he
You get
won't.
what I'm saying?
He won't fail, though. That's the thing. That
As president or for reelection?
oh, he's getting.
He's failing his job as president. I mean,
Is he? Only
well,
time.
the country is not in shambles yet, but
Like same utterances of yourself right now was said with Bush, and here we stand. And Bush did 8 years, and
I wasn't as loud about Bush. I
but
mean,
you
I
existed.
was a little bit more moderate, and I could have a conversation with people about Bush and policies. It
Yeah,
wasn't one of those things where it's just like
they
this is
made
blatant, this is obvious, this is black and white. Don't vote for the fucking guy.
they made a fucking movie on how incompetent he is. To this day, they still make movies about that, and he should be tried for war crimes. Because I'm and but here we are.
Yeah.
Like only time will tell. Here, Ellen DeGeneres is talking to Bush, like this shit's all good, right? He went and fucking, we got hit by 9/11 and we attack Iraq because Afghanistan.
Yeah, a lot of people died,
They're like in two different places, and people don't give a shit, and then, okay, so you got your 8 years of Bush and then you guess what you got? You got 8 years of Obama. And now you're going to get 8 years of Trump. And then like the next asshole's going to come. And then so on and so forth. And only time will tell what they did and if they did it right.
Yeah, most of this Trump stuff came out after. I mean, the Bush stuff, I'm sorry, came out after,
Yeah. Well, no, like he was getting shat on in the media.
But there were policy discussions. You know what I'm saying? It was disagreements and everything, but at the end of the day, we were all pretty much still Americans.
Yeah.
Far left obviously was like but you could still have the discussion.
The fire.
I could still talk to Republicans and we could have a talk about what was going on.
Yeah.
This one, it's like the dude's talking about injecting, bleach or consuming shit.
That was a flub, right? Because he's not a rocket scientist. He just says shit out of his ass.
But he is the president. Joe Biden, he's a candidate. He's getting ready. But once he gets there, the expectation is, now you're the guy in power. Now you're the one with the big microphone. Now you need to be watching what you say 1,000%.
But he won't. Oh, no, that's the thing. That's the thing. He is going to be exactly the same as he is president. The only thing you're voting for is his policies because they're pro what agenda you want.
And see, I'm okay with Republican people, having policies that they want. Obviously, they have their value systems as well, and they want to see the country go a certain way. We can have those discussions, right? It doesn't have to be through Trump.
Well, it's too bad. This is what you got.
Yeah. Well,
you got now.
Was the Republicans cannibalized themselves?
Now you got Trump being an asshole, but at least he's kind of coherent. Well, you got Biden not being an asshole, but he does some shit.
That's just exactly where Trump's lane is.
Yeah,
it's Trump.
Biden, you would say or a liberal would say, I'm voting for not him per se, but the party and what it stands for. And so you're voting on what policies, like for instance, Supreme Court, he's going to get people there that are more aligned with his things. Now that's what you should say, but that's not what you're saying. You're saying, Trump's an asshole and Biden, once he's a president.
I would like a better candidate than Biden, but it's what we got.
I would have took the crystal fucking lady.
I think that would have been way too much. Honestly, I like Pete Buttigieg, but this country will never elect a gay person
because he's gay. Yeah, you know what? And what pisses me off is the people that I feel like they threw Biden as a sacrifice. They were like, the DNC's like, you know what? We're gonna fucking lose this because no one's clicking the marks. No one's getting there. So we need to send someone who's Bernie will not run again. Like 4 years from now, Bernie cannot run. He'll be dead or too old. And but they don't want the chance of Bernie becoming president because if he does not align with actual liberal beliefs, his alignment is literally against the DNC in different ways. Like
Yeah,
he,
uh he's not a real Democrat. He's a socialist Democrat.
yeah, that's what
That
he's.
would have
Yeah,
that if he would have been the nominee, the middle would have gone to the right.
I, I,
Yeah, to the right.
I would have voted for Bernie.
I would have voted for him too,
Yeah,
but again,
and most
I'm
people.
talking about the right middle. You know,
Now, I think the DNC knew what was going down. If Bernie goes, he might win, and if he might win, they wouldn't be able to control him. That's
I think he was too radical. I think he would
I
have been way
agree.
too polarizing.
I agree, and that's why DNC was like, "Nah, we're gonna sacrifice a fucking Biden."
Yeah,
Because
no, he would have been the nominee. But Bernie Sanders would have been the nominee, but he would not have won a general election.
you think? I think you're wrong, but
No,
then
man,
we'll never know.
he's too polarizing, just like Hillary Clinton was. You know,
No,
it not in the exact same way policy wise, but the fact that she was a female.
no, she's on point. She was on point, and she could have won that fucking thing. She just neglected a few states. She neglected a few states.
Yeah, she assumed
Plus,
that
plus,
that blue wall in the north was gonna hold, and it
nah,
didn't.
she should have won, but she didn't. She fucking neglected her duties, didn't pay attention to, the coal miners. And Trump, he knew the game. He fucking did. And I think that Bernie could have done that. I think he could have, with the right team, could have, or Andrew Yang. I love that guy. He could have made that happen. But I think Bernie had a better chance than Yang.
I think
And
Bernie would have had to move more to the middle to have a chance,
well,
and
yeah, if
like away from like AOC, you know.
yeah, well, he wasn't that extreme. Like if you hear him talk for a long period of time, he's pretty on point. But it's just that he really lost a lot of people when he went socialist. He should have stopped using that terminology. Like the things he was saying wasn't like communist China. You know what I mean? It was different.
Yeah. But just the word pisses a lot of people off.
Yes, if you just
Because I mean, they don't want to admit we live in a socialist society. We just do. We have
firefighter
police, firefighters,
that is,
taxes, schools,
yeah, like when
free education. That's like
Pierce.
socialism.
What gets twisted is they call that a common good, like roads.
Well, that's what socialism is for the common good.
Yeah, some of it. And it is a socialistic democracy. We do vote for things, but we want the roads good. So we all pay a common tax for the roads.
It's about social programs. Social Security is a socialist program.
You know what the argument was? Donald Trump Jr.'s kid, or Donald Trump kid Jr., whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
He says the reason why universal healthcare for all is different from the argument why we have firefighters, is because he says, well, the firefighters aren't constantly fighting fires. And I grant him that. But if we have Medicare for all right, that's not like a thing in where everyone's on fire or everyone's sick.
Everyone's constantly sick, right?
Yeah, so the firefighter analogy does kind of work. You know what I mean? Now, at first, you're right. It wouldn't work at first, but I mean, they just cut a fucking check for fucking $2 trillion, just like that. Like why not get it going? Because I'm telling you, if we're all about prevent it, and then we could shift the healthcare system to preventative care as opposed to aftercare, because we're pretty good at curing broken bones and shit like that.
We've been pretty good at preventative care.
We're not good at preventative care. No way. We're not preaching. I'm a medical system. We're not telling people as they come in, hey, you know what, to stop eating.
Oh, you're talking about that? Okay, no, yeah. Yeah, we're not good at that.
Yeah, preventative care is this. I am making sure you don't get diabetes. What we do is aftercare. Oh, you got diabetes. Let's do some.
Yeah.
Or, you know what? I know you're eating a lot of sugar, but try not to. But this is after the fact,
Yep.
If we just shift our focus to preventative care, like, okay, this is what you do. Always wear a helmet and things like that. And people like to say that we do that, but we don't. We're there to help the other people, but it's for a profit, right? Without even knowing it. It's not like we're like, we're evil. We're just, helping the people. Now, if you took away that incentive for money, and then we're just helping people, yes, it would take a long time for things to happen. But then again, you wouldn't need to do a lot of these things because we're already working on your preventative care. You wouldn't need to go in. It wouldn't take you a year to get a heart, an EKG or something like that because you've already worked on your preventative care. You don't need an EKG as much, things like that. And it takes a while to shift into that. I don't know, fuck, I am not liberal, but I'm just saying, like, if we just shift, we get firefighters at one time, we used to have to pay a tat, like pay. Like I got firefighting A and you're paying for firefighter B. And
Right.
if there's a fire, if I didn't pay my dues, you ain't taking that fire out. But then we all agreed, you know what? Fire spreads. Let's just let's
Cover everybody. Yeah.
fire, healthcare. I mean, if I cough, I got you, not just me, you.
Yeah.
That would have helped out tremendously with this COVID, So, I mean, universal healthcare, Bernie. Oh, well, we got Biden.
Yeah. I don't think. Well, shit, man. We got a hole we got to dig out of now.
No, we don't. After Trump reigns supreme for the 4 years that he will, we're going to have a Democratic president, period. And that person will last for at least 4 years. I could guarantee that. You will not have after Trump's done with his 4 years, we will not vote for another Republican, period.
Especially if we go to like mail-in voting. If we
Oh,
make it easier, we make it easier for people to vote.
dude, if we make mail-in voting, we won't have we will never have a Republican president. Trump won't win. He will not win if we go into mail-in voting right away. Yeah.
It's tough, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Here's another thing. So if you're all about electoral, this is the last one, electoral college, mail-in voting, why not? Okay, say we can let's say magically, on your phone, you can vote. Let's just say magically, all the people who vote, you can vote. Why not have it the popular vote? Because, okay, I know you're saying that California would usually dictate what the needs that they want over the needs of, say, Michigan, right? So
it kind of it forces people to reach out into different areas. That way it's not just one specific set of policies.
but you're working for the people, right?
Yes, but it's like
The majority of people, I mean, if you're going to go in this direction, why not work for the majority of people?
because then you can just appeal to the coastlines.
Yeah.
And the center will never get represented. You know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying.
There are specific ideologies and they're regional.
But like think about it. What access to information? So if you're here in the coastal areas and you're here in the center, like what difference of information do you need? Like all the information they have, you have. Now the only reason why we have the way we have it is because you got horses and shit. They get to an area, they would speak out. We don't have horses anymore. We have TV. We don't have TV anymore. We have internet.
But then you would have trade policies that would only, or that might focus on specific areas with specific ideologies or with specific resources.
Like the country as a united of states, they all kind of work together, right? You need food and water from California. They need to get it from other states.
Yes, but states also have within themselves their own economies.
That's true too.
Have their own state revenues in terms of taxes and
true
stuff.
too. That's true too.
So you have to have policies that try to consider everybody. Does it happen with the electoral college? No, it doesn't. It's not guaranteed with the electoral college, but it is more spread out. It is more diffused, because you can't count on 100% of the votes, the number of people in California. You can only really count on half of them. Yeah, you get all the electoral points for the state, but now you got to make sure that you actually get enough points from everywhere else too. You can't expect 100% of the people in the state. So you just got to pay enough attention to the state to get more than half of them to want you. And
no, but
now you put in the state.
If it's a popular vote, you're just getting people's opinions, right? Like, why can't it be popular? They got this thing, right, where we all vote, then it goes to an electoral, and they dictate whether or not. Now, some states they have the law. Well, whatever the popular vote, that's where we go with. But I think California isn't that way. It's we all vote, and then consensus is with the electorals. They're the ones who decide whether or not we go red or
No,
blue.
it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing deal. So if
Yeah,
it's 51% Biden, he gets all 52 points.
exactly, and it's not real. I mean, like so, like when I vote, well, not okay. I'm not in Say I'm in California. When I vote, my vote really doesn't matter because it goes to whoever. Say I vote for red, it's still going blue. But like if if we're going popular vote of California and my vote's red, it can go to other red. You know what I mean? Like my vote could help another fucking state. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
you know what I mean? Like so Michigan, it's got its votes, right? And they went red, right? But say that there was some fucking blue in there, your blue vote could have helped that fucker. I'm just saying. I mean, like,
Let's say you pick the right combinations of states, right? That'll give you the popular vote, and you only focus your energies on those. And
I hear.
I think it could be as little as like 4 or 5 states:
Okay, yeah,
California, Texas, Florida, and I don't know whatever other next populous states are. Then you can go ahead and run on a platform that is going to get everybody in that state to vote for you.
that's good.
Adjust your platform just enough to make sure that you're pleasing every single person in that state and not giving a shit about South Dakota, you
Yeah,
know, and never even go through South Dakota and not give a shit about South Dakota and fucking just
they shouldn't.
pay attention to this set of states. And those sets of states, they're gonna prosper. They're gonna get all the whatever trade deals and all that stuff. Their favor.
Nope, you're breaking up. Oh shit, we lost you. Well, I guess
Frozen.
you're frozen.
There. Oh, you were frozen.
I was frozen. I'm good.
We're both frozen.
Shit. So what is?
Anyways, look, the electoral college keeps people from just zeroing in on specific states. Oh my gosh, there we go again. It's saying my internet connection is unstable.
Oh, it's you.
It's saying it's me.
How come it doesn't tell me that? It should give me a sit rep. Like whose Wi-Fi is good and whose isn't.
But I'm okay.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Finish your point.
Oh, well, anyways, I mean, it just keeps it keeps nominees from just focusing on a few states.
I hear you. But what does it matter?
Because it's gonna ignore the rest of the states.
No, see, okay, man, fuck it. Michigan has they voted red, right? Oh, and they have a reason they voted for Trump, right? And then you got California. Now, not all of California voted for Hillary, some
right.
for Trump.
Yeah.
So their needs were met. They voted, and their needs were met. Inadvertently, it's not like their vote even mattered. However, they got what they wanted. So, I mean, there could be an argument for South Dakota. There's only red and blue. South Dakota votes red, and you get your popular vote. The fuck, they still get their needs met,
Well, I think the way this last election went down, and I think you already proved my point too. Hillary Clinton did not do her job to appeal to the states that went for Trump. By narrowing her vision to specific sets of states and ignoring the needs of that blue wall, she lost.
Who gives a fuck about coal mining? You know what I mean? Like,
well, but she didn't address their needs. The fear was, hey, our jobs are going away. She didn't say, okay, I'm going to put together a specific plan to retrain you guys in something else and really drive home the point that those fucking jobs ain't coming back. That's not the direction that the world is going.
I hear you.
But she didn't drive that in enough. She didn't do enough to reassure them.
That's, you know what? But still, she still, if she wanted to appeal to them, she could have said something to appeal to them, even without.
She didn't do it. She failed in her job to go and secure those states.
I
because she focused too much in other areas.
no, I hear what you're saying,
That's
but
the argument behind the electoral college.
I don't think you're hearing me. You're just
Okay,
hammering that you're hammering
okay,
the thing home. But
okay.
it's so she's working on. She wants those votes, right? Those states, whatever. She has to have something to talk about that is aligned with that. Now, if okay, so you have a whole country, right?
Okay.
Like we as a people don't care about that. Those people cared, but we all didn't care. So
Okay.
for the greater good, we need to move forward. And that's how America is. It just is. America moves forward for the greater good. So if you're in South Dakota and you have like, we don't have enough cups, I'm sorry, but the rest of the country shouldn't worry about that because you're not really voting for like a shift in like cups. You're moving a direction, and then your governments, your little governors and mayors and other people, viceroy, whatever. No, I'm just made that up. But you get your governors and shit, and they're supposed to figure it out for those states.
No. Well, yes and no.
No, because the
Because
president
it,
moved
because
the the fucking country to a direction.
you also have like international trade deals that would benefit specific
Agree.
sectors within states. So if they go out, and they meet and greet and they do their personality thing, then it becomes easier for them to say we're going to invest in America, and then from there they can kind of channel it into whoever needs it.
See, I think that would
Usually
work
the kind
itself.
of policies that people run on.
It would work itself out because so this is a whole ship, right? And say South Dakota is part of that ship. I'm just picking on South Dakota. If we have a hole in that ship, that's still the president's fault. So although the people fucking voted where the ship goes, you still have to kind of focus on these other states. So if your trade deals move the ship in a certain way and some of it gets lost, you're like, well, fuck, I can't go this direction because I'm hitting rocks here and there. So I got to move to another direction. So I don't think we understand the concept of the presidency. The presidency is supposed to shift us to a direction.
Yes.
And if some people aren't cool with that, meaning countries, that's not the point. The point is what we all agreed on. You know what I mean? That's true democracy.
And
Electoral college, I think, is an archaic thing. And
but Kevin, I think you said it. She didn't pay enough attention to those states,
I agree, but
you know, and that sealed her fate by ignoring them and assuming that they were going to go with her.
that's what happened with this form of electoral process.
And this is where the electoral college worked because it's meant to prevent that kind of shit from happening.
Yeah,
Now, unfortunately, the other side's solution. I'm
no,
sorry.
but think about the coal miners. Think of it. Like, what the fuck does it matter? Because we're moving to a different direction. Green energy. In that, well, I mean, that's our.
The message wasn't given.
Yeah, I know, but
It wasn't given. Somebody did show up with an answer and a solution, and even though it doesn't really work, if you sit down and think about it, they gave a solution, rather than somebody going, or just flat out fucking ignoring you.
well, her solution would, by virtue of what it is, doesn't work with them. But we all agree we want to go towards that direction, right? Yes or no?
Yes. She
So
didn't do enough though.
Trump went and lied to them. Hey, we're bringing home. Of course, that's not going to work. All he did was lie to those individual states. That's all you're doing is galvanizing a person to lie to certain states. If you just have a president that's all he did. Well, do we have clean
He
coal?
did lie, but you're making it sound like the electoral college drove him to lie, like made a liar able to get elected.
Well, I mean,
Not the fault of the electoral college.
because there's incentives to do. Why don't I do crime right now? There's incentives not to. You know what I mean? Like,
there's messaging though when it comes to running for the president. Did you get your message across?
yeah,
And did it meet the needs of most people, or did it meet the needs of a narrow band of people?
the shift of America has to move, right? And then some states aren't going to be down for that. They're just not. You know what? Hold that thought. I got to do something real quick. All right. To shift America, so say South Dakota or Kansas. Let's say Kansas, all right? Let's move off to South Dakota. Sorry, bud. Kansas, right? Says we want to have black people to be slaves. Like that doesn't work for America. That's, I mean, as a group, we agree that's not good. But Kansas is adamant about that. So, what the fuck? We're gonna appeal to Kansas? No, because what the president's doing is moving the entire fucking country to a direction. And what is our country? It's the people, not the systems in place. The people. And if the people all want to agree that black people aren't slaves, then we should move in that direction. I don't give a fuck about the 3, 4 other states I didn't fucking compel to agree with me. There's some issues that we just need to move forward towards a direction, like green energy. I mean, I think more nuclear, if anything, but I mean, move towards a direction. Period.
uh,
Coal isn't part of it, you know.
Lincoln,
And
Roosevelt,
there you go.
they had states that
Yeah,
wanted things that they didn't want, but they had to message themselves in a way to still appeal to them.
wrong. You should have Lincoln.
Huh?
Shouldn't have used Lincoln.
Why not?
Civil War.
Yeah, but he ran saying that he would not free the slaves, but that he also wouldn't allow slavery in new states. So he ran on the platform of that he was not going to remove slavery from places that already had it.
See, you prove my point with that.
But he wanted to abolish it anyways. You know, he lied.
He had to, exactly.
Lied. You know.
Incentivized to lie.
Yeah, but that was
The will
for
of the people. The will of the people is what matters.
well, it was a will of the people that they didn't know was their real will to begin with.
Exactly.
You know,
And then we fought a war over it.
to complete the promise that was laid out. You know, the Declaration of Independence.
Dude, I'm telling you, Lan, if you have like 80% of the people saying, let's do this, I mean, that other 20%, I mean, come on, the fuck. You know, I don't care what state you're in. And it wouldn't be just one state. It'd be individual states and individual ideologies in all these other states. And you're right. Some states wouldn't actually matter, but kind of they would, right? Because if their message was green energy or no green energy, and they didn't want green energy, and the will of the people said, we want green energy, that's the way the cookie crumbled. And we move faster that way. We would move faster to either creative or destructive. Right here. Now here we got this thing that's slow, and we just argue and nothing gets done.
Yeah, but the thing is, if it was never promised, if they never ran on green energy, you know, or bringing
What I just use as
stuff like that, then they're not obligated to keep those kinds of promises.
no, they were,
It's people have needs, and you have to be able to address them.
yeah, but they would able to focus on the message that they want rather than fucking with all the state. They're fucking with the people. And they're like, well, most of my finger on the pulse, we don't want slavery. Finger on the pulse, we want to go to the moon. My finger on the pulse, we're going to go to Mars. I mean, like, they could focus on that rather than focus on, you know, virtue signaling. I have black friends. I'm not gay, but I love gay people. I mean, that's what they got. That's what they do. That's what you on the left. And the Republicans are like, hey, man, I think both Nazis and black people could work together to do, you know, what the fuck ever. But like now, instead of that, you're just trying to appease the people. And the people want this, the people want that. And I get it. 400 plus years ago, we looked at all the governments and we decided, you know what, all these other governments did this, and true democracy didn't really work for the Romans, I guess, or whatever the fuck. But so we did this, you know, but no. Time is different. No one foresaw the information age. This shit's new. Everything, this is a reality. We have information really fast. If you're not hip to the times, then get the fuck out. Like, not get the fuck out, but like, I guess we're gonna have to move without you.
Kevin, without if we went to popular vote,
You're racist.
no, all of my interests they'll be represented.
I agree.
You know,
And that's the way it is. And and that's what pushes. That's what pulls the rest. I mean, like, so say I hate gay people. I don't, but let's just say I do. and you and your people are like, well, no, they should be able to marry. But me being old fashioned, I'm like, nah, man, fuck this shit. Instead of having this whole fucking, let's go to the state and fucking argue against these states that are anti-gay, you know, the will of the people, they want this shit. They want people to fuck it. If they want to fuck a tree, they're gonna fuck a tree.
But sometimes you have to,
No, you don't.
no, you have to be able to change their minds or their hearts. You don't.
No, you don't ever change a mind. Not
No, it's because
me.
transformative change doesn't happen by forcing it on people.
It does.
You
Check.
know,
There
it, it,
are racist
it
people out there right now, and the reason why they aren't blatantly racist, like they don't say I hate black people. I know people right now hate black people that don't say they hate black people now. Before they did, they were like, "Fuck, I don't want black people in my fucking family. Fuck that shit." That's what they said. Now they're like, "I'm not racist. It's because of values," and they try to
but check this out.
because they know they're wrong.
It, there's that, but
They'll get shamed. My bad.
in the South, there was this animosity that still exists there because their right to own slaves was ripped from them.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? I agree. But transformative change is more powerful, and that's where I go back to like the nonviolent civil rights movement, because all of a sudden you had people that were maybe like, yeah, we should just stay segregated because that's the way we've always done things, and then they're seeing people getting beaten and stuff for sitting on the floor where they're not allowed because they're colored, and it's like, well, it forces them to start rethinking, you know, their values within themselves. Rather than just rip that away from them, you're convincing them.
Mm-mm.
And that's more transformative, that's more powerful, that's more ingrained, and you could do it within a generation that way, rather than we're taking this from you and fuck it because that's the right way. We're right, you're wrong, and you are evil for thinking what you're thinking and doing things
Give
the way you.
you. I will give you a metric
And
right.
that's why Kevin, 1860s to 1960s, 100 years to sign the Civil Rights Bill of 1964.
Yeah.
Why did it take 100 years to legalize, you know, desegregation? Why did it take that long? Why did the Civil War settle that?
No, but like think about it. Hillary Clinton before I think 2013 anti-gays getting together in the sense of the right to for gay people to marry, right? And then afterwards she did. The only difference between her opinion before and after was social media became more of a thing and the information's out there. I know a person right now, anti-black person, anti-Mexican, all that shit. Before, would say whatever the fuck. And this is only like 6 years ago, maybe even, no, 10 years ago. It's 10 years. The only difference now to back then is social media is more of a thing. So people are getting shamed more. So this is a thing, okay? Now, if you're in Podunk, Texas, I don't know. Texas is pretty big. I don't know. Think of a small place. Maine. You're in Maine, right? And you're thinking all these fucking thoughts and shit. You're not going to do, who gives a fuck? There's too many people. 80% says, let's do this. And that 20%, which is spread around the fucking country, they're not going to fucking rise up and then glop together because they're too spread out. The majority of people will agree on certain things. As you can see in the 2016 election, it wasn't just like one country, one state. It was spread out amongst all the states. And so if you go with a majority, you're going with the majority of the people in the states. And you're right. The other side, they're just going to have to suck it up just like they are now. But they're not. They're really, pouty.
That's not gonna drive them to change what they think inside.
You're going
I'll share this right now. You know, I work in education, and it's interesting that you mentioned shaming, because when
shame
you're
work.
when you're working with students, shaming them is not a way to get them to learn how to make the right decision. If anything, it pushes them away into opposition, and it becomes much more difficult to get them to realize and see and evaluate their decisions in a mature way. All of a sudden they're doing it against, they're actually going to oppose you because you decided to be disciplinary or authoritative and just say, you're gonna have to suck it up because these are the rules, this is the way it is. Do it because I am here and you are here. I am in the majority and
Combining
you are in the minority.
human human nature. Power tripping is one thing. Shaming this power dynamic.
It's not power tripping. It's not power tripping. It's saying that most of society is saying that this is how you're going to make your decisions, regardless of what your value system is or what your needs are. But here's the thing: if you work with somebody and you have a dialogue with a student and you help them to reflect on, you know, their decision making and what went into why they chose what they chose, and if they answer honestly and work with you honestly, and if you expose a little bit of vulnerability with them, you actually get a transformative change, a truly transformative change, and building a relationship where you're doing things with people and not doing things to people.
No, see, okay, I agree with aspects, but I think you're convoluting what I'm saying. Now, if Bob and Bill are together, they could shame each other. But
Okay, wait.
if Eber, Bob and Bill, and Eber's in charge, being the teacher, yeah, that wouldn't work because it's a power dynamic. Now, if you have all of us blues men with all the reds, and there's more blues and reds than you're saying, and obviously this is a thing because people don't say the F word anymore as much. People don't shit on gay people as much. That's true, but eventually they're going to be suppressed to the point where they're not going to be talking about it. You're never going to change a person. You're never going to change a person.
You can.
No, you can't. You can never enact change. You have to be the change. That person individually has to want to change.
Right.
We're never going to change a person. That person.
No. Yeah, not me. Go that's a. But you're supporting my point because again, you can't go and change a person. You can still have a dialogue with them, and then allow them to change internally by giving them an opportunity to state the side.
Different.
You know,
The difference. Okay, so Michigan votes. Okay, California votes blue, and there's a Trump. What the fuck is the difference? We're still doing whatever Trump wants. California still gets not what they wanted. However, if you just did your majority thing and say Trump did win, you still had the majority, and California still didn't get what it wanted.
it forced us to think: who did we live out in this conversation? There was so many people that supported Hillary Clinton and that were against Trump. Who did we neglect? You know, what happened? And we know what happened. We ignored the North. You know,
You're
and
not moving.
ignored the North. I assumed that they were just going to go blue. And when I was watching the returns that night, I was like, there's no fucking way this is happening. Why is that map red up there? You know, what happened? And now we know. Now we know. And again, it's.
But like you're just shifting one data point to another data point rather than say, yes, it's because they didn't get their coal mining or whatever the fuck. You got another data point. The majority of people wanted green energy. The less majority did not. Now, this isn't still, once again, you're talking about forcing and things like that.
Because the education wasn't there. The education wasn't there. It was more like, this is what we're doing, and you're just gonna have to go with it.
But
It wasn't like, hey, this is where we want to go, and we want you guys to have a stake in that. We're gonna retrain you. We're gonna put you into positions in the energy sector using what you already know,
no,
but
this
adapting it to this.
is not what happened.
You think that's not what happened?
No, because he wanted coal mining to come back, which he lied. And
Because it's an easy one. That was easy. That was easy to just go and say, hey, I'm gonna bring your jobs back because that's what you know, and that's gonna be the easiest thing to do.
But that's a data point, though. You're saying, well, if we had just paid it, no. What I'm saying is, you got a majority, and then say if the majority did not say, majority said Trump, right? Then that means the majority of people wanted what he wanted. The majority. Now the majority did not go that way. They went to Hillary, the popularity vote, if you want to go that way.
Well, his message was spread across more states, though. That's the problem.
True that, but you have the internet, so that's your fault if you didn't get the info. In the year 2016, you had the internet, and further and further and further. It is your fault for not being educated.
I was informed.
Oh no, it's just like it was back in the 1800s, or say 1600s. You had horses and shit. You got to be informed, and that's what this is. And there's no law against not being informed or whatever the fuck. but it's your responsibility to be informed. And if your message isn't getting, if your vote isn't counting to the popularity of everyone else, that's just you. You're bad. And if you're informed, you're usually going to go to the direction. So say that you got your blue and you got your red, and they have pro energy, pro coal. It's your fault for not going with blue. It just
Yeah, but then what's going to happen? People are
chap,
going to move out of those areas. They're going to leave those states.
and that's a good
Go
thing.
to, not necessarily, because you have a lot of people already living in places. You're going to have concentrations of populations.
And then get this, you'll have concentrations of people leaving, like they do in California. Like
No,
people
California is going to be packed. New York's going to be packed. Florida, Texas, they're going to get swamped.
wrong. In actuality, the more packed places will then move out because they can't afford it. I mean, it's obviously happening. California has record numbers.
Okay, so they can't afford to live in the place where the economic action is. They're going to move to places where there is no economic action, and now you're just widening that gap between people that have and people that don't.
No. Economics are out there. People leave states. In fact, that's why Nevada is becoming more liberal. Do you know why? I'll tell you. Because people are leaving California, going into Nevada, because they can make it better than they can.
So we live in a time of electoral college right now. If you take out the electoral college, all of a sudden the needs of Nevada aren't going to get met. The needs of fucking Arizona and New Mexico aren't going to get met.
But it would. Do you know why? Because more people would be going in Nevada. And whatever people in Nevada want, that's what they're going to get. And say Nevada's doing bad, then they go back to California. That's how civilization works. People are supposed to move. That's the thing. You weren't meant to stay in one spot. And that'd be great if you could. But that's just the way it is.
We got agriculture now, dude. We got agriculture. We're
No. We have capitalism.
People don't want to.
No. We have capitalism.
Yeah.
Now, you're not going to stay in the fucking place you are if you're not making money. That instead of farming or agriculture, because that's gone now, we're capitalists. So you're
going to go to the places that are making money.
That are making money.
If you have a president or a government that's favoring certain places over others.
Dude, how much does it cost to rent a house in California, where you're at?
But here's the thing. Rent a house, you're talking high 2000s, low 3000s.
I know. Your economy's terrible. And then you go over here to Michigan, my economy's great.
No, it's just the standard of living is
and why is that?
Higher. Because there's more money here and there's
more
people and stuff. There's more action here.
There's more people.
But also it's just, trade. There's more trade happening here.
No,
you have ports all along the coast. Waterlocked states don't have that much to sell.
I'll tell you a truth. There's more people there, and then they're not going to be able to live there. So they're going to have to move, just like normal. That's what this is.
You're still going to have higher concentrations of people in California. Even if people move out, you're still going to have it packed. It's going to look like Coruscant.
I had a house, I had an apartment that was $600. In 10 years' time, this is a while back now. In 10 years' time, it's small too, by the way. In 10 years' time, it doubled in rent. Did my salary double in rent? No. And then it doubled again 10 more years later. But did my salary triple? No. Did it even double? No. That is what California is. I have a house. I didn't have a house there.
That's because people move to California. They don't leave California.
Yes, and that's the problem. You're going to have more people move there, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to move out. They're just going to. Look at Chato. He fucking moved out.
Not if you have policies that are going to favor California. Then you might actually see rent kind of like flatten out because development is going to go up. And wages is going to go up because all of a sudden you have a government that's going to favor the shit out of your area.
And that's why I think that my fucking law would work. If you just have popularity, California would kind of filter itself out.
No, California is going to become California and the hard eastern seaboard, they're going to become the ones to decide everything for everybody across the whole damn nation.
Dude, California has like the number one economy and like the worst economy at the same time.
We have like the 5th biggest economy in the world or some shit.
Something like that. And then you have the
by itself.
Economy. Yeah. And it's got the worst economy. You guys can't even afford to live there.
But we live here.
Yeah, now
and the population goes up, the number of electoral votes that California gets actually goes up every other census.
yeah.
So the population keeps climbing.
Oh
Uh,
yes.
yeah, but not it's not climbing the same with everybody else. It's climbing faster in California than it is in other states.
What's happening is
Weather and the economy and
people
shit.
multiplying and then leaving, and then you got
Yeah, but the thing is the electoral college points stay the same. It's always the same number, and then they divide it up based on how many people are in it. It's a ratio.
it is for now.
Right. So right now that we have the electoral college,
Yeah,
I'm just thinking, it's again, would I be happier without the electoral college? Yeah, because
you're need
Gore would have won in 2000.
all
Uh,
states to have.
Obama would have won anyways. Hillary would have won this last time. You look at the last, going all the way back to 92, we would have had Democratic presidents the entire fucking time. That
And,
shows you where a majority of the country is. But the minority part, they need to be considered too. And it keeps these races tight. It keeps these races tight. And
well, if it's a real movement of philosophy of thinking, then it will move. But if everyone's thinking the same kind of thing, then it should move in that direction. You have this push and pull. It should be considered, yes. But if you have a president, it should move in that direction, and then that's where you have real change. And I mean, I get it. If America was the only fucking state or country in the world, then yeah. But you have other countries to consider. And yes, we were, progressing a certain way, but now we're not. So, I mean, we need to move to a certain direction. And I think a popular vote in the information age should work. And if you don't have the information, like if you don't have the information, if you have all the information in the fucking world in your cell phone and you're still voting a certain way, the problem isn't the way, it's you. There's people I know that no matter what you say, they're just going to always be that way. And I think we need to move past those people. They're speed bumps. They're not there to do anything. They're just causing resistance to an actual movement. What is to gain out of thinking, what? People are bad guys. They're
but
all
there are people that think kind of like that, but that they're still susceptible to change within themselves
no.
if you happen to have the dialogue the right way. No, I'm not talking about the far left or far right.
That is what I'm talking about. The thing that kept
I'm talking about the people in the middle. I'm talking about the people in the middle, or somebody that's kind of like, I'm gonna vote for Trump, but I kind of don't like what he's doing. Let's talk about it. There's those people out there because they're in the whole gamut,
I
right?
think the people who voted for him, they were never on the fence. They like to say they were, but they weren't. And then they just, now that they put their foot in the dirt, they got to plant it and then really look for reasons why they're right. I think that reality wise, we should have moved towards the direction and kept going. And the people who planted their feet and said, yeah, I'm on the fence, they weren't on the fence. They planted their feet. Now they're there. And now they got to defend this guy, which they are, for every fucking thing you see him do, which is stupid. Uh,
Those are the loud ones. The quiet ones we don't know about. There's a lot of people that voted for Trump that aren't going to vote for him again.
yeah, I don't think so.
I think so. I don't see him winning this next one.
Well, I'm in a Republican state, and I have to say, the people who voted for Trump will vote for Trump twice if they could.
I think some people are gonna. I think there's some people out there that are probably wearing MAGA hats, but they probably secretly know that they don't need to vote for Trump.
Oh, dude, if you're wearing a MAGA hat, period. If you're wearing a MAGA hat, the fuck. Okay, look.
November's gonna be interesting, dude. November's gonna be so interesting.
Will it? I mean, COVID really fucked everything up because we have not seen any debates.
Yeah, there'll be time for that. You can have a debate on a stage. They'll be 6 feet apart, and
God, I want
it
to.
might even be more pure because you won't have the crowds, firing up. It'll actually be more substantive because you'll be hearing what they're saying,
God.
not having the influence of the crowd, going yeah, or whatever.
My
That's actually a better debate.
my heart flutters for this debate. It flutters because I want to see it because I know for a fact Trump was going to own Biden, and it's going to be fucking hilarious because
I don't know that that's going to be the case.
have you ever seen? Okay, Biden was talking to Charlemagne the God, and this guy is just a a personality. Like he's the Arsenio Hall of our time.
Okay.
And he's just a personality. And he says simply he keeps it on track. And Biden couldn't handle that guy. And now Trump is a little bit more of a personality. He has way more personality. He doesn't need to keep on track. He knows how to keep you off your balance, and he knows how to pepper you, and then gives you zingers. He's got zingers, man. He's pretty fast at it too, and he does it on Twitter. I mean, dude, he's fun. Okay, so when Biden says, "If you don't vote for me, you ain't black," that kind of bullshit, right? Fucking Trump, within like 10, 20 minutes from that point, had a Twitter about him saying that, and then it's like these black dudes dancing to a coffin, and it's like it said Biden's presidency. It's like do 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 do. I mean, he fucking zinged him hard.
Yeah.
In real time, I've seen him argue with people in real time, and his point did not work, but it didn't matter. He accused a person of being
The
a
way he does
killer.
it.
Dude, he is on levels that doesn't exist, and he's gonna go. If he was to go against a comedian, he'd get owned. But he is at that level, and Biden's not. Biden is at mental decline, can't talk, flubs his words, and when he gets emotional, he says stupid shit like, "I want to fight you."
That's why I'm not happy that he's the nominee. I mean,
Because
there was better nominees, but
there was way back. Like if he would argue with Andrew Yang, and Hillary was pretty good at debating him. She kept it on point. Okay, all right, guy, all right, and that was a good debate. She kept it on point. Biden's nowhere near that. If he gets pressured, he results to like this brutish, let's go fight outside. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. You're fucking 78. You don't even do meth like Trump does. I mean, Trump will fucking chop you up and snort you up his ass, dude. He's done. Dude, I mean, that's just the way it is. And when they go to argue, it's gonna be great because Trump knows one thing that will always win in a debate: never get emotional, and he will win that.
yeah, he does keep his cool.
Biden does not. Biden couldn't even fucking argue against a coal worker or whatever fucking maintenance dude.
He keeps his cool, like I want to say, like outward.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
But even Trump is susceptible to kind of showing flashes of anger, but
Of course.
Subdued. It's almost like a passive aggressive type of.
I hear you. When you're shitting on him, when you're constantly getting peppered, like he'll do a conference that's like an hour. And what happens is you got all these reporters, right? And they're fucking just working to get him. They're trying to get that zing. Why would you call me Chinese? Revealing her, I'm Chinese, that kind of bullshit. And then it becomes the TV thing. They're not really good at debating. They're just all zinging him. And eventually, after an hour, he's like, fuck, I'm an old man. You guys are just constantly fucking on my ass. You know what? Fuck you guys. And that's what he does. I'm going to fucking walk away. That's what he does. That's what you're saying after an hour. If you see this fucking guy debate, one guy who doesn't know how to zing or anything, it's not like he's the power of 20 reporters.
Well, that's what happened during when he was running for the Republican nomination.
I mean, was there? Not, you mean last time or this time? Because this time there was no run.
No, 4 years ago.
Yeah, Zodiac murder.
He mauled everybody.
He was like boom, 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 but like just one person. He can't attack. Dude, he cannot win against 20 reporters. They got facts. They're ready for him. He's always going to flub, and he's always going to lose his temper. It's a battle of attrition with that. They're always going to win. But when it comes to one person, dude, he's like fucking Mike Tyson. He's going to argue with them, and he's going to get them mad, and he's going to get the zingers. And once he starts seeing himself win, he's going to fucking just ease up. Now, if Biden had the power of 20 fucking reporters, Asian, black, all these other nationalities, just constantly attacking him, yes, he would lose that battle. But it's not. It's Biden in a diaper. Hashtag diapers. Just fucking vote for diapers, and you're good. Like that guy won't fucking – it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. He might piss himself. That's how angry he might get. See him saying something like, you know what, I heard rumor that you murdered your wife, as his wife is right there, as his wife, because it doesn't make any sense. And then he would go, I didn't. He would argue. He would play into it. I didn't murder my wife. Now I heard you were racist and you said the N-word just 2 times already. And then guy would just go berserk because he wanted that fucking Biden wanted to fight a steel worker. You know what I mean? Like just for calling him out on shit he said. Like the steelworker guy was right. And Biden could even handle the one guy who already did his research. That's the thing. I
Yeah.
don't think Biden can handle 20 reporters, but they wouldn't really shit on him like that. They would give him a pass.
Yeah.
It would be a debacle like no other. Dude, it's like fucking the year 2020 fighting the year 20 BC. You know, dude, it's Trump is at another level. He's got the Twitter. He would attack him on all levels. Dude, it's I can't wait.
I didn't want Biden, but I wanted Bernie less. I felt that Biden had that was it I think appeals to more voters.
I know, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. And that's
Um,
a stupid thing. That shows you stupid. Stupid.
yeah, I go back to Buttigieg.
Yeah, of course. We could all say woulda, coulda, shoulda. But I'm just saying that Biden was a terrible choice. It was a sacrifice. That's what I say. They used him to just lose. And now we're just going to watch him get destroyed. That's what is going to happen. And I mean, if you are voting for Biden, you are voting for policy. That's your hope. That's your only hope. And that's why you should vote for Biden, you know, because you want, hopefully, God willing, you're in the Supreme Court, he's voting for someone who could overturn Roe versus Wade or fucking, you know,
Not overturn it, but support it.
support what the fuck ever, man. And hopefully he gets a woman of color, you know, as a vice president. So when he does die of old age, she takes over. Boom, done. Maybe that's the DNC's like master plan or some shit like that.
Well, they need to make sure they pick somebody because I think that's going to be a big part of the.
Well, that's in the running. That's happening right now. Like I think there's like several women of color that he's in the running, which is kind of weird that you're basing it on race and sex.
I don't. They shouldn't be doing it like that.
But that's the way it is, and I mean that's good. I mean once he dies of old age, that person would have taken over, but that's not going to even get there. Fuck, dude, whoever he picks, right now I bet right now they're vetting the person of color, as in a person who can be made fun of to make Trump look good. I mean, reverse that. Trump look bad. Where Trump's gonna like he can't touch her because if he does, he's a racist or he'll be sexist. So he cannot mess with her. That's what I'm getting. Like
I don't think Trump would be the one debating that person. It would probably be Pence.
No, what will happen is Trump will then attack the he would attack the if it was a dude and it was a shitty guy, he would make fun of that person. That's what he would do. But because it's a woman of color, he will not even touch that person.
Yeah, but I think Pence would be able to. I think
he doesn't need to talk at all. The vice president doesn't really matter per se. It matters.
Usually the vice presidents they debate against each other.
Yeah, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I'm sorry. Nobody gives.
Well, it's more important this time because, like you said, Biden might not make it through 4 years.
I agreed. That's why that vice president will be a woman of color and probably Down syndrome or something. Just you and probably gay and transgender.
I think it's going to be more important this time around than it usually is.
Yeah, dude, I would totally pick a black person, dude, because I would turn everything into a race thing or just go, hey, man, go woke or go broke. That's what I would go. If I was Biden, that is how far I would go. I would be wearing like fucking Kwanzaa gear and shit and eating a bat, you know? I mean, whatever the fuck puts me out there as the most virtuous person, a SJW tattooed on my fucking forehead, dude, I'd be all about it. That's how I would win against Trump. That's how you got to just own it, dude. He's going to lose, dude, terribly. That's the way it is. And so I think we covered all the topics. That is where we left. This was a short one. It's only 2 hours and 27 minutes.
Well, that's not bad.
Not as bad as 4 hours or 3 hours. We did 3.5 the other day. But I put it into 3. So everybody, if you enjoyed our conversation, please subscribe, like, all that good shit. Share away. Get on Facebook. It's Podcast for We, or find us on Podcast for Me. And without further ado, we say mahalo.